It goes something like this. It's better to remain silent and be thoughtful than to open up your incoherent blowhole and remove all doubt. Have you guys ever heard that before? Chalk that one up. Make sure you write that down. Just take incoherent.
It literally froze my entire computer, bro. Yeah, just my bad. My mic on. It's literally just froze my entire computer, like bloop. Soon I popped in here. This is crazy. Yeah, it literally just froze my entire computer, like boom, out of nowhere. I don't know where that came from. That is insane. I've tried to hook up my camera, and I think I need to get another camera. I think the camera is just not working. But I tried to hook up my camera, and then the computer was like, boom. Let me get out of here. Yeah, but it literally just, I don't even know what's going on right now. But yeah, that's what it did, though. It literally just froze my entire computer, man. I don't know what it's doing. But yeah. It just froze the computer. It kicked me off my own stream too. I was in the studio trying to hook up my camera. I was in the studio, I was trying to hook up my camera, and it literally just froze my computer up. The whole computer, I couldn't actually do nothing. I had to let go of the mouse, and it went click, 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 click. That's why I don't like using OBS, and I definitely don't like using StreamYard. I gotta find something else to use that is way better, because now I understand what everybody was talking about when you use these systems. I really do understand what they was talking about now. Hey Matthew, you there? You there? Hey, how you doing, man? I don't know what happened to the last stream. I apologize. It literally just threw me out. It literally just threw me out the whole system. I don't know what that was about. I had absolutely no clue. I guess because I was trying to go into QE and I was trying to like put my camera on. And while I was going to QE, I guess it just said like, okay. Well, y'all already seen me do that though. So if anybody that's in here, y'all already honestly seen me do that. So wow. Yeah. So that was a good little 30-minute stream that we had. But hey, anyway, what's going on, Matthew? Yeah, I appreciate it. I guess I was trying to figure it out. If anybody want to come back, they could come back. I got a new stream basically set up. I don't know if you guys actually want to see me go in there and talk to Q. I guess talk to QE. I mean, I pretty much said everything I had to say about it. That's why I just stayed in another Discord. I think the conversation I was having with what's the name was a little bit better. Yeah. But I could go ahead and give my 1-2 of what I feel about it. Honestly, I could probably do a review about it myself. About what Witsit and Rob. I think Tim Pool already put some clips out. I'm gonna take a look at that and see if Tim Pool actually put some clips out there. If my freaking YouTube, I think YouTube actually crashed me. I think YouTube did that, honestly. Because at the same time, I was trying to pull up the chat in YouTube. So I don't know what that was about, actually. And I think another reason why is too, I think another reason is I'm a moderator in FED too. So if I'm trying to control at this time, QE don't have a panel up too. So I got to remember that. Maybe my computer is like, okay, it's doing too many things at one time. So that's probably it too. I'm thinking that's too. Thinking that's probably it. Like, okay, now you coming in this room and now they got you as a mod in this room as well as you trying to hook up a computer. I mean, as you trying to hook up a camera to a computer, as you trying to adjust your mic, as you trying to, okay, you about to stop. You should have had all this figured out at the beginning, which I did, and my mic was going in and out. It's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. My bad, everybody. First show back. But Matthew hanging out with me today, so that's all good, right? We all good. But if anybody do want to discuss anything with me, I'm in FED. I could probably put it in the chat. That's how they doing it too. I could probably put it in the chat where I'm at. That's unfortunate. How do you stay so positive? Well, I don't know. I guess it's not the end of the world, right? I think I had a pretty good show, good comeback show anyway. I had a real good discussion. And I really wasn't trying to go in QE's room, but unfortunately my discussion actually ended. So, but I think it was kind of it was kind of like a good interview, a good interaction I had. Let's see. And plus, again, I figured everybody have already seen my review. I mean, heard my take. I mean, pretty much everybody that's coming to my channel already heard what I had to say about the whole Witsit thing anyway. So it's almost like, okay, do we want to hear him talk about it again? But I could give a brief summary about it, Me personally, I think Witsit did pretty good. Based on what I asked him to do, what I suspected or what I expected from him. So I knew they was going to get into it with him about the ether thing. I knew they was going to try to get him to defend the light traveling thing. I kind of knew they was going to do that. So Witsit handled that the way I asked him to handle it. I told him, I said, hey, if they try to use like a distraction tactic in order for you to not talk about flat earth anymore and get into an argument about ether or get into an argument about light traveling, I would just call it out, because most of the time that stuff don't have anything to do with ether, whenever you're trying to prove a flat earth, or even in the example that he was trying to prove earth spinning. Now, I wouldn't have brought up those examples Witsit brought up. I think Witsit just really wanted to talk about that stuff, honestly. Me personally, I think Witsit just really wanted to talk about that stuff. So I think that's why he brought it up. So the guy jumped on it. And then once the guy jumped on it, Witsit had to pretty much defend it right there. But the guy really jumped on it so he could basically get Witsit to make a claim about the ether instead of him making a claim about whether or not the earth is spinning. So I think Witsit caught that. And then that was just that was something that we already discussed with Witsit. Not to, put myself on some type of pedestal or I'm telling Witsit what to do behind the scenes and I'm just some great guy and I'm so smart and I'm a strategist, something like that. That's not what happened. Witsit came in the FED, and even after show, I was moderating the room and I allowed everybody to, give their critique of Witsit. It was an internal critique. And me and several other people basically said, hey, Witsit, this is what we suspect you to say. And this is how we will want you to represent us and represent our points, because we felt that you wasn't really representing, what flat earth is actually, or the flat earth argument that's actually being made. You're allowing these globers and allowing the rest of the world to believe that all flat earthers or stereotype all flat earthers to believe in like the ether and all this other crazy stuff Tim Pool was bringing up. Really it was Tim Pool bringing up all this stuff. So I think Witsit pretty much. Now a lot of people believe, I'm not gonna say no names, Witsit was lying and double speaking and not representing what he believed at some of these moments, because Witsit have been, condemning people and telling people that, light don't travel and electrostatic and, and his ideal about what the ether is and what is ether and it exists. And yeah, and those particular people, they got a point when they say, well, hey, if Witsit is not going to defend this stuff, then they have a point. And I believe that Witsit also made that point to us. So I would like to, just like I told them yesterday, I said, well, hey, I would like to hold myself accountable for that, because I did tell Witsit to ignore all that and just defend the flat earth point. So Witsit decided that he wanted to do an internal critique, and you guys calling it lying. Witsit wanted to basically argue things by his opponent's logic, which is basically conceding to certain points in order to move the conversation to the premise. Then, I don't know what to say about that. That's almost like saying when someone makes an argument by his opponent's own logic and is still basically supporting his premise. I don't know where to go from there. Now the opponent can very well say, hey, Witsit, you don't believe in that. You believe in this. And then, yes, Witsit would be forced to defend that. Or Witsit would be forced to say like, oh, yes, I do believe in this. And this is what I believe. But right now, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is this. And this is how it's proven this. And then an opponent can basically go into the argument of saying, oh, well, that would be contradicting. He would have to show that it's actually contradicting Witsit point that he's making about the Earth spinning, which I don't believe that is contradicting that at all, honestly. So I don't believe that it's contradicting that because it's a failure. It's called Aries failure. So that's what they were talking about. And Aries failure is basically supposed to be a supposed proof or disproof of whether or not the Earth is spinning, right? Which is actually a flat Earth proof because it goes by horizontal measurements anyway. So they get measurements from a baseline. That's what it like is that one angle versus another one. So I mean, light traveling is the last thing to worry about in that. So it's not even saying, oh, well, this is an observation. Well, light traveling is not even it's not even the condemning aspect of this so-called measurement, which it is, which you can call it a measurement because they're measuring angles or where the light going to be and what angle this light is going to be at. The difference. So the differential is in the angles, not the differential when based on light traveling. So, and the main premise is basically the Earth spinning. Now, there's a lot of moments with it. To me, I feel, and we could probably go over this. It's a lot of moments where I feel that he kind of baited himself into certain arguments, and that was one of those moments. Honestly, I believe Witsit really should have put it on the Glober to explain that. You know, when they asked Witsit about some of those things, I think Witsit should have identified like, hey, well, these are claims that the Globers are making, and the Glober's going to have and allow the Glober to bring that stuff up. You know, which Witsit only just named the list of things, and then the Glober took the bait. So I think Witsit probably took, like, you could look at it two ways. You could look at it as in Witsit laid out a flat earth argument, and one of the things that he did in the flat earth argument, which is this is what some debaters do as well, they'll give you a list of claims that their opponent, like say I'm debating someone. Now this is baiting. Now I could be baiting myself or I could be baiting my opponent. But say my opponent believing one thing and I'm opposition to that. I could lay out a list of things that my opponent, I could lay out a list of so-called condemning evidence that my opponent would jump onto. Now, some of that evidence could actually be supporting my claim, which I believe that's what Witsit was doing. Witsit pretty much was throwing out a bunch of evidence that really support that's things that the opponent know about that supports his claim. So his opponent could jump on it, which some people would say that, well, Witsit, he the one that threw that out. He the one that brought it up, which Witsit did bring that stuff out, but he really brought it up to bait the opponent into that argument. So even if you're going to say, you know, the criticism is, even if you want to say that Witsit did do that, he baited his opponent with those lists of subjects or a list of evidence that he wanted the opponent to jump on to. It's still like Witsit baited himself into an argument that he wanted to make. He wanted to go against with. So I mean, so even if he's applying to his opponent's logic and trying to get, the burden is still upon Witsit to pretty much prove that by your logic, it's still supporting my claim, which I believe Witsit actually did. So, I mean, it could have ended badly, but it didn't. I mean, not to me. I believe that Witsit pretty much explained by his opponent's logic. Aries failure still proves that the Earth is not spinning. You know, even with all of the assumptions that the Earth is a globe and light traveling and all of that. They're like, oh yeah, I could give you all that, but right now we're not arguing about that. Right now we're arguing about whether or not the Earth is spinning and whether or not the Earth is horizontal. So that's the only thing. That's the only premise that we arguing about right now. So that's the only thing that I have to defend right now. So I could give you all these assumptions, which is just assumptions, and I would get to that in a minute. You know, but right now I'm just going to beat you on this point by your own logic. and then I'm gonna rip the rest of that nonsense apart. At least that's how, you know, that's how like a debater would think. Like, okay, well, here's his premise, and I could give him this, and then when I give him this, I'm gonna rip apart this premise, and then we gonna come back and I'm gonna rip everything else up. Right? So I that's what I think. So I think that it still ended in Witsit's favor and then blow up in his face. I think the only thing that really blew up in Witsit's face was that I think he didn't know that Rob was about to be questioning him like that. I don't think Witsit was really suspecting that. I think Witsit was really suspecting to once it got to between him and Rob, he was going to be able to articulate a whole point without Rob interrupting him. And it seemed like every time Rob tried to challenge Witsit felt like he had to, you know, he had that burden on him. And I think Rob tricked Witsit in that, which is a very, to me, is deceptive. I just think that it's proved that Rob really didn't know too much about this topic. And I just think that Rob really couldn't keep up with, and a lot of people want to say Witsit is stupid. You know, clearly he's not. But I believe that Rob really couldn't keep up with Witsit. So he decided that he wanted to keep interrupting and throwing things at Witsit, and Witsit just feel like, I gotta knock this down, I gotta knock this down, I gotta knock this down. But the conversation is moving further away from your point. So, I mean, which was happening to Witsit all day. So it was really 3 versus 1. I believe Alex Stein did pretty good. As far as what he know, Alex Stein really don't know anything. Some people on the panel believe Alex Stein is a liar. So yeah, I agree with that. It's too much pride. Well, you know, we are men, so yeah, I don't know. It's too much pride. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I believe you know, a lot of this stuff happened really before I was deep in the community, so I really can't speak on too much. But far as what I've been seeing over the year or two I've been here, yeah, I believe a lot of this stuff can be stopped with behind the scenes conversations. I think a lot of these conversations shouldn't happen live, you know. So I think a lot of these conversations should really happen like behind. It could probably still happen on Discord, but I don't think it should be on a live show. Now, is entertaining, you know, to a certain extent, is entertaining. And then another thing is too, you could look at it like this too, like YouTube, like influencers, YouTubers, or whatever you want to call them, they get in disputes all the time, and sometimes it's real, and sometimes it's fake, you know. So it's good entertainment, but it's not good for the community, if that makes sense. You know. But if anybody else come in here besides Matthew, QE is doing a live review right now. We pretty much, I did it already with Flat Zoid, and like I said earlier, I already did it. So but I'm thinking on like reviewing it by myself because I haven't, you know, and I might do that. I might just go ahead and review a little bit of it by myself. But if anybody want to look at the another review with QE, they can. Matthew, you could go there and look at it. You know, I'm going to leave this live up, and I'm just going to be live by myself. I don't have nobody with me. Let's do this. Oh, PJ live. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Well, I'm competing with PJ. But yeah, I don't want to take no audience away from P though. But yeah, I'm thinking on doing this. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Undo capture. Let's take that off. Yeah, let me see. I don't know if I could even find that. What's the thing? Let me see if I can even find that. I know it's popular though. It's like I think it got like 400,000 views or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see if I can throw it up on the screen real quick. Oh. Yeah, they got me back live. But I don't know if it just literally crashed on me. That is crazy, Matthew. It just crashed. Which is insane. All right. All right. Let's see. They still calling Witz the Sky Grifter. Let me see some. Oh, he's reviewing I didn't even know this happened. Okay. Okay, let's see. People always call me when I'm doing my thing. Oh, he's reviewing Flat Zoe and Luke's second stream together. Talking about PJ. All right, let's see something. Where I'm at. What's really going on? Okay. Nope. All right, let's do that. Take that out. And we're going to take that out. Now let's check this out. It takes so much for me to find this thing. All right. All right. Let's see. Where you at, man? Where you at? Doom, doom, doom. All right, no. Okay. Now let's do this, and let's see what we got now. Serious, bro? You serious, bro? I was say, I know you ain't serious. All right, let's do it. I literally can't find it, y'all. It is not on mine, and I'm trying to put this on my screen. Is I can't even find the what's it versus you know what? It's not Wizard versus anybody, so it's just Wizard on Tim Pool. So let me try that though. Let me try that Wizard versus Wizard on Tim Pool. Let me try Wizard on Tim Pool. Wizard on Tim Pool. Let me try that. Wizard on Tim Pool. Audio capture. Let's try Wizard on Tim Pool. Let's try that. Let's see about that. Let's try. That's QE. This is Tim Pool. See that. Let's see that. See what happens with that. Oh, everything, but what this my thing is, why would he put so much? He clipped so much into this. Let's look at some of the clips then, right? Flat Earth conspiracy debate. Tim Pool failed to research. Alex Jones. Who cares? Who cares?
Do you know what's in your cheap protein powder?
We're not gonna. Yeah, they talking about the solar system and all that nonsense. I really don't care about that. I really don't care about that. No.
Reported crime is down because majority of the large city police agencies have stopped sending us their data.
Okay. This what they was talking about right here. Now, so they already listen. So Tim Pool already don't know what he talking about right now. So this is hilarious right now. This is already hilarious. So if Matthew ain't there. But check this out. This is already hilarious. So Tim Pool is already being dishonest. He's already being dishonest right now because he's saying that the astronomer explains Aries razor and how it proves Earth orbit. So how is the astronomer is not explaining anything? The astronomer is explaining it wrong. Tim Pool should have worded it as astronomer is trying to explain it, because actually Whitsitt is the one that brought it up. So Tim Pool is already being dishonest right now. Now, if Tim Pool was honest, he would have named this. He would have named this Whitsitt versus whatever this guy name is. Astronomer dead, whatever you want to call himself. He would have named it Whitsitt versus this guy, or he could have even named it Astronomer versus Flat Earther on Aries failure, and he could have just basically just let the debate go. But look what's going on.
So Aries failure, for those who don't know, I'm sure the audience may not be familiar with this, but it involves a telescope filled with water because light travel.
Now check this out. It already got Aries failure as an experiment. It's not. It's an observation. It's not even an experiment. But the experiment called Aries failure was a test conducted by astronomer. So as soon as you hear an astronomer do anything as far as science or experiments, you know it's already wrong, because astronomers don't do scientific experiments. Royal Sir, whatever his name is, nobody cares. I'm not about to read his fucking name. In 1871, in which Aries failure to detect the motion of the Earth. The experiment showed that the stars move relative to a fixed Earth. Remember that. By first fouling a telescope with water to slow down the speed of light inside. Now this is what Nathan was getting. This was what Nathan and Brian was getting on Whitsitt about, because it do say speed of light in here, and they are basically talking about the speed of light in the medium of water. So Whitsitt is going by Aries failure at this point. So soon as Whitsitt admit that light has a speed, which means it has a rate, and that's going in, it has a rate of it going into the medium, which is water in a telescope, and then they got a gotcha on Whitsitt. So which in reality they do got a gotcha on Whitsitt. Now if Whitsitt was to come to them and say that, and say, yeah, Aries failure, and Whitsitt was to come to them, me personally, and he was to say, yeah, so it has a speed of light, and yeah, then they'd be like, wait a minute, Whitsitt, you don't believe light travel. You believe light is propagating through the water, so you don't believe that. So you can't have Aries failure, as an example. So there is just I got you. Whitsitt, I got you admitting that light do travel. So that's just basically what it is, and they know that's what it is. So I don't know why they try to act like Whitsitt. So speed of light, right? Water to slow down the speed of light inside. Inside. Then calculating the tilt necessary to get the straight directly down the tube. Some weird wording. My eyes is terribly bad. Aries, I guess, unintentionally demonstrated that the Earth was fixed horizontally since the straight came in at the correct angle, and I don't see angle. I'm literally just going off the memory of what I know about Aries failure. So I guess it's saying at the correct angle without needing to change the tilt of the telescope. So and I literally don't see any of this. I don't even know why they put this on the screen. Ain't nobody gonna be able to read this. Like, he could at least like highlighted it where all the words is like in a blue line where the blue little bubble in this light white or something like that. Like, who could read this? So you putting this up here, Temple, like somebody gonna be able to read this shit? I can't even read. I just know what the experiment is, honestly, by me just being in the community. I just know what the experiment is. Not that I'm some genius or something like that. Just by me being in this community and, you know, hearing this argument multiple times. I actually used this argument, so that's how I know, like, Witsit kind of like beat him here. Now, me, I wouldn't be, I would have no problem talking about light travel at a certain speed and the slowdowns in the medium, and therefore you don't see it at this correct angle. Therefore, the Earth is fixed and horizontal. And that's why you have to tilt the telescope a certain way in order to get the correct angle. I don't have no problem with that because I don't make a claim. Basically said that the light don't travel. So but I guess because Witsit do make the claim that light don't travel and it actually propagate through a medium, I guess they feel like I got you. But I don't have any problem with Witsit pretty much saying that because he's using the logic of a glober. So he's saying, based on you guys' experiment, you guys claim that light traveled through a telescope, and you still have not got the prediction or the outcome that you wanted. You guys predicted that it wouldn't be pretty much horizontal, that the Earth was spinning, and it actually proved different. It proved otherwise. So that's what Aries failure is really about. This is how silly Tim Pool is, because this is a flat Earth claim. So I mean, I really don't know what Tim Pool trying to get out of this. Like, this is like a flat Earth claim. Oh man, let's see now. So I'm gonna let you guys hear this. Let's see. I'm gonna let you guys hear this. Oh, let's see. Now, how can I let you guys hear this? Now we gotta see. Oh, I know what's going on. I know why it's not doing it. Okay, I got you now. I got you.
Travel slower in water.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's see.
So you have a water-filled telescope. The principle behind Aries failure. So Austin, my question to
This is
you
ridiculous
is, if
stuff.
you had your water-filled telescope on Mars and you point at a star, will you see stellar aberration consistent with Mars's orbital motion, or will it be affected by water?
If you went to Narnia, what would be your favorite color? I don't go to Mars, and that's irrelevant. It's a deflection.
Aries failure. So for people who don't know, and I'm sure Tim's going to pull it up here in a second. But
Flat
it
Earth
involves,
Wiki, should I do that?
Well, that's the debunk site, but it's good.
that's
It's
the
still
first
good.
thing
It
that
still
comes
can
out.
be good because all of them are going to say what's not true, which is very telling. That it has to lie.
So Aries failure, for those who don't know, I'm sure the audience may not be familiar with this, but it involves a telescope filled with water because light travels slower in water. Would you agree that light travels slower in water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have a water-filled telescope. The principle behind Aries failure, which, I mean, this experiment goes back, before Einstein. At that time, physicists believed in the ether, that light was entrained in this ether, and that it was called the undulating theory of light, that light was traveling through the ether, a medium. They thought it was necessary. So basically, you have a water-filled telescope pointing at a star. Now, you have stellar aberration because light acts a bit like when you're running in the rain. If you accelerate, you have to tilt your umbrella down to catch the rain. And so starlight acts that way. As we go around the sun, the starlight is deflected slightly by Earth's orbital motion, at least.
Now, all of these is assumptions. So he's saying sunlight is okay. All of these is he don't know what Aries failure is. This is how you know that Tim Pool have no idea what he's doing. He don't have no idea what he's talking about right now. Because if Tim Pool was smart, he would have understood that all of these are assumptions that the Earth is in orbit. What they're trying to prove is that the Earth is spinning and the Earth is going around the sun. That is the prediction. So right now, the only thing that he's explaining is a prediction. He's not explaining the actual thing that he's supposed to be proved. He's explaining a prediction. That's what he's explaining. And is already in an affirmative consequence fallacy anyway, Aries failure. It is saying if P, my prediction, is true, therefore Q, I would see this angle in this telescope if I tilt it in this medium at the speed of light, because light travel or whatever. I don't see P, which is I don't see Q, therefore not P. So they own affirmative consequences not actually working, honestly. So it's just silly. So I guess they probably can use that and say like, oh, well, this is affirmative consequence fallacy anyway, you guys say. Because I heard several Globers tell me that, well, that's just affirmative consequence anyway, just according to you. I'm like, yeah, but it's still like, you guys still use that as some type of claim. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to continue, computer. Thank you.
At least in our model, right? And so if you point a telescope at a star, you have to correct for what we call stellar aberration, the deflection of that starlight. Now, if you fill that telescope with water, the thought was if the starlight is entrained in ether, and think of this as a medium.
You see how he's trying to change this about the argument of ether? He's trying to change this. Now, the only thing that first off, Aries failure is not even talking about the ether. It had absolutely nothing to do with ether. Like, I don't even know why he's even like going there. But the ether that he's explaining, it's not even the ether that Whitsitt even talk about. So everything that he's talking about right now is irrelevant to the experiment. He's just trying to hand wave it away. He's trying to get away from the actual experiment and with the actual experiment. So actually Tim Pool is being dishonest right now because he's not explaining Aries failure right now. He's trying to debunk the ether. He's trying to debunk ether with Aries failure, which he's not. He's not even talking about Aries failure right now. Honestly, he's talking about ether don't exist because Aries failures exist. That's what he's trying to do, which is very deceptive. So he's just pretty much just copying the script that Mattoon told all these idiots, talking about all these experiments is disproving ether and all this. These experiments is not talking about ether. You know what I'm saying? And I believe even on the flat earth, even some flat earthers, they like to say that these experiments are somehow debunking ether. These experiments is not talking about ether. Half of the time when they do talk about ether, they talking about space or the sky or something that's going on in the sky. They're not even talking about like, oh, do ether exist? Is this some small particle? Is it got to be something? It's not none of that. They're not talking about that stuff. They're not talking about the same ether that Whitsitt is talking about or Rob talking about. They're not talking about the same ether. So this guy's just invoking this to bait Whitsitt in an argument about the ether, instead of keeping the argument about whether or not the earth is spinning and whether or not Aries failure is proving the earth is spinning. His premise is the earth is spinning. He's trying to change it and say, well, Aries failure is not talking about whether or not the earth is spinning. They're talking about the ether, and it proved that the ether don't exist. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to say, like, according to Aries failure, ether don't exist because the light comes from the ether. And if the ether exists, the light will be slower in the ether because we have to tilt the telescope a little bit more now because ether nonsense.
The Earth is moving through around the solar system, then if you slow the light down, but if it's trapped in the ether, it's still going to have lateral motion.
Look, he's talking about lateral motion in the ether. None of this have anything to do with an ether medium, a background medium. Had nothing to do with that. He just talking nonsense. Everything that he's saying out of his mouth is all nonsense. It had absolutely nothing to do with the goddamn experiment. I mean, we all read what the experiment was. Was there anything in the experiment about ether? No, there's nothing in the experiment about ether. They're only talking about the speed of light, and they only talk about the speed of light and how they use a water liquid medium to slow down the speed of light in the telescope and tilting the telescope a certain way in order to get an angle. Notice he didn't say anything about an angle or tilting the telescope a certain way yet. He's talking about the ether. Now we should fast forward this because he's going to talk about the ether the whole time. Honestly, he's not going to get to the angle or the conclusion until the end. So we should really like fast forward this and get to what Whitsitt is saying, because this is where the contention in the flat earth community is actually having a little argument about. But you know, I think he's about to ask Whitsitt a stupid question anyway. But yeah, this guy is literally trying to bait Whitsitt into arguing with him about the ether. These is all facts.
In the telescope, consistent with Earth's orbital motion, and that won't be affected by the water.
Okay.
No, let me finish.
Now, Whitsitt, now check this out. He want to say, let me finish, because he thinking Whitsitt, look, he got a smile on his face because he think Whitsitt is about to argue with him about ether in the speed of light. He think Whitsitt is about to argue with. I want to notice, like, now I really want to review it myself, because honestly, I want everybody to see just how happy he gets whenever Whitsitt start talking about the ether. And I really want, honestly, Whitsitt to see this too, how happy this guy get whenever Whitsitt get to talking about the damn ether. Whenever Whitsitt get to talking about ether, this guy get extremely happy. Now, I don't know why this dude be getting happy, but whenever Whitsitt talk about the ether, this guy get extremely happy, like, oh, I got Whitsitt. I got him. And then he's so dumb, he can't even beat Whitsitt with the argument. Like, so it's like, you can't even really handle Whitsitt whenever he talk about it. So you trying to get into an argument with him about it, you know, because you got some atone points in there or something. It seemed like this, he's reading nonsense. Like, yep, Whitsitt about to argue with you about the ether. So there you go. Now, I don't want to put any speculation on this guy or anything. I don't want to accuse him of anything or put any accusations on him or charge him with anything. But he's definitely looking at the computer. He's definitely, you know, I'm hoping that he's looking at the goddamn, the so-called experiment, Aries failure, and what happens in Aries failure based on the methodology and based on the definition of it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that he's looking at the methodology of Aries failure and what is in it and what it's about. And I mean, but he can't be doing that because ain't no fucking ether in it. So I don't know why is he talking about ether. And then he think Whitsitt is about to argue with him about it. Now, Whitsitt have every right to interrupt him, because Whitsitt have every right to interrupt him and say, hey, well, we're not talking about the ether. And this is a globe. And I said, and this actually disproves the globe spinning. So what we're talking about is that this failure, this experiment proves that the globe is not moving. So this is what this is about. This had nothing to do with the ether. Why you keep talking about the ether? It don't matter how many times you say ether, 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 ether. This experiment has nothing to do with that. What it shows is that the earth is not spinning. So you're going to have to deal with that. Now, if you're just going to keep talking about the ether, you can keep talking about the ether much as you want. But the proof or the fact of the matter is that this experiment shows that the earth is not moving.
So what?
It's not an experiment. It's just an observation. So, you know, but according to the globe, it shows Earth is not moving.
What happens in reality is you have a photon of light entering the telescope, slowed
down. Now check this out. He's saying a photon of light entered the telescope. First off, Whitsitt is not going to deny that because it has nothing to do. It had nothing to do right? It has nothing to do with whether or not the Earth is spinning or not. Now, the photon of light, this is where this is where FED is condemning Whitsitt, because Whitsitt don't believe in atoms and photons, and he definitely don't believe in light traveling. So now they got a point. Whitsitt don't believe in that. Whitsitt have a claim that that doesn't happen, right? So Whitsitt have a claim about that. But right now, at this very moment, is Whitsitt arguing with somebody about the ether? Or is Whitsitt talking about Aries failure and it proves that the Earth is not spinning in orbit? Now, Tim Pool is being very dishonest here because he's saying Aries failure and how it proves Earth's orbit. It doesn't. Astronomer doesn't explain that whatsoever. You can read in the damn experiment where it says that it doesn't prove that. So Tim Pool is a liar. And I'm about to type something in there and explain to Tim Pool how he's a liar. So.
Down by the water.
Matter of fact, I believe that FED should be calling Tim Pool a liar. Right? Tim Pool lied in his title. This guy have not explained how Aries failure proves the Earth is in orbit. He have not explained that. Matter of fact, y'all put the definition on there showing the opposite. And this guy have not been doing nothing but talk about ether. The only thing that this guy is saying, according to the astronomer, the only thing that he's saying Aries failure is doing is disproving whether or not the ether exists. That's what he's doing. That's what he's talking about. He's trying to bait Whitsitt into debating whether or not the ether exists. So he's not baiting Whitsitt into whether or not the Earth is spinning or not. Notice his argumentation is about the ether, not about whether or not the Earth is spinning. So Tim Pool is being very dishonest. What? Tim Pool is so retarded that he believes if he somehow proved that the ether don't exist, he simultaneously proved that the Earth is spinning, even though the experiment says that the Earth is not.
But
what an idiot. When I say people was retarded, I mean people was retarded, bro.
The water doesn't have any preferential way of knowing, this vector
Reification fallacy, but we don't got to go there.
towards the bottom of the telescope, I'm going to slow it down this direction, but I'm not going to slow it down laterally. It doesn't work like that. But
Reification fallacy. Water is not a sentient being. It doesn't think. It doesn't know anything. Reification.
But it would have, at least in theory, if ether...
There is no theory of water knowing anything. Reification fallacy. It's just stupid. I'm not going to go into that.
Were real and it were entrained in the ether. The idea was,
how can water be trained in the ether? Remember, ether don't exist according to him. So how can water be trained in the ether? We listening to an idiot. He's just a babbling moron talking nonsense.
It's still stuck in the ether. It's still going to have this lateral motion.
He's talking about something he's talking about a claim that don't exist. He's talking about something that don't exist, which is the ether, according to him. But ether don't exist. Whitsitt is not. Notice, we haven't seen Whitsitt's explanation, but Whitsitt is, hopefully we'll be able to get to Whitsitt's explanation. But Whitsitt is not going to talk about the ether when he talk about this experiment. He's only going to talk about the speed of light, the common medium, which is the liquid, the speed of light traveling through the liquid, which it slows down, and where it's therefore you have to tilt the telescope in order to get the correct angle that is needed on the planet, which is proving that the Earth is not spinning. That's the only thing Whitsitt is about to talk about. The actual experiment, the thing that I actually read earlier in this thing. Hold on, let's read it again. The experiment called Aries failure was a test. Was a test conducted by astronomers Royal Sir George, whatever his nigga name is, in 1871, in which Aries failure detect the motion of the Earth. The experiment showed that the stars move relative to the fixed Earth by first fouling a telescope with water to slow down the speed of light inside, calculating the tilt necessary to get the straight directly down to the tube, right? To get it straight directly down to the tube, talking about the speed of light. Had nothing to do with the ether. Notice, I have not yet talked about ether, how it slows down, any of that nonsense. This is like a Glober's channel, like, honestly. I'm going to be real with you. This is like a Glober's channel. Down the tube, Aries unintentionally demonstrated that the Earth was fixed horizontally since the straight came in at a correct angle without needing to change the tilt of the telescope. So since the light came straight in at a correct angle without needing to tilt the telescope, therefore the Earth is not moving because you didn't have to adjust an angle. So none of this have anything to do with ether. None of this. It's just showing that Aries failure actually demonstrated that the Earth is fixed relative to the stars that is moving. So it's showing that the Earth is fixed, and it's showing that the stars it's basically moving. So let's see.
Laterally, it doesn't work like that, but it would have, at least in theory, if ether were real and it were entrained in the ether. The idea was it's still stuck in the ether. It's still going to have this lateral.
There's no idea. Did you see any ideas about anything being stuck in the ether in the damn summary of the experiment? You would think that would be a major part, right? Of course, it's not a major part. Of course, it's irrelevant. That's why it's not in there. That's why it's not talking about the ether whatsoever. It's just some nonsense that he came up with. And again, Tim Pool is so basically this guy somehow prove Earth is in orbit because ether don't exist.
Motion caused by Earth's orbital motion, but because ether doesn't actually exist, and that's what the result actually showed. So the result didn't show what the damn experiment said. It didn't show that. It showed that ether don't exist. This is his claim. This is how stupid Tim Pool and this guy is. And Tim Pool didn't have enough common sense in that room to say, well, none of that have anything to do with whether or not the Earth is spinning. You're just talking about ether. Photon was coming straight down the tube, the same as it did without the water present.
But because Tim Pool is because Tim Pool don't want his channel going through the backlash or being an official flat Earth channel, and he losing all of his subscribers. He don't want to lose his subscribers, so he got to be on the globe side. So these guys are clowns, bro. I mean, these guys made all this money, and these clowns are such cowards where they can't even admit that, yeah, he lost his argument.
So
you don't have to believe in the flat Earth. You could just be like, well, yeah, that Glober came up here and he definitely lost his argument because he definitely didn't basically prove his premise of whether or not the Earth is spinning. Whether the Earth is spinning, he's not making any claim because the Aries failure clearly says that it's demonstrating that the Earth is not spinning, that it's fixed. So you're going to have to prove to us, you have the burden of proof to show us on how Aries failure is incorrect, that the Earth is actually spinning, and what the demonstration is actually showing is that the Earth is spinning. Not talk about the ether. That doesn't exist. You claim that the ether don't exist. Why are you talking about it? Huh? If ether is not a factor in this demonstration, why are you talking about it? Because Witsit haven't brought it up. Witsit haven't said anything about the ether. I want you to know this now. Witsit did not bring up anything about the ether when he talked about Aries failure at all. Witsit only brought up Aries failure by naming off a list of things. He named off Aries failure. He named off Michelson Morley. He named off a couple other scientific so-called experiments. He named off these experiments, and this guy chose this guy chose to talk about Aries failure. He chose to talk about that because he wanted to bring up the ether. Because somebody wrote in this little laptop of his about the ether. He chose to talk about it, not Whitsitt. Whitsitt just brought it up as a list of things that globers used in order to prove that the earth is spinning where it doesn't prove it. He's just talking about failed experiments, and that's it. It's demonstrating that the earth is not spinning. These are just some of the things that Whitsitt threw out as bait, and he decided to take the bait and say, I'm going to take this experiment and I'm going to use it to prove that the earth is spinning. Even though the demonstration shows that the earth is not spinning, he's saying, I'm going to take your argument, which is my argument. I'm going to take this argument and I'm going to show you with this argument that the earth is spinning. He decided to do that. But what he did, he took the argument to show that the ether don't exist. The ether don't exist. Not ether. Ether. So if the ether don't exist, that means the earth is definitely spinning. You know, that's according to him.
Aries showed no effect on stellar aberration. The amount of
there's no ether, so therefore earth is rotating. You know,
stellar aberration
like
in the water-filled telescope was the same. But the whole reason they expected it to be different was because of ether, the idea that it was going to be entrained in ether.
Did we read anything about ether at all? Did we read anything in Aries failure about the ether? No, right? Nothing at all about ether. Nothing about propagation of light and mediums and all that kind of stuff. We read nothing about it, right? Matter of fact, light actually traveled in this experiment, correct? So what is this idiot talking about? This experiment had absolutely nothing to do with ether. It had nothing to do with proving it or disproving it. Nothing to do with it. They made no assumptions about ether at all. But this clown just keep talking about it. So Tim Pool, you moron, idiot. Tim Pool, you are a dumbass in this argument. You the dumbest motherfucker on there. You the dumbest motherfucker in there. For you prove being the dummy in the room by coming out with this clip. You are dumb. You should have named this astronomers talking about the ether, trying to use Aries failure to prove that the ether don't exist. That's what you should have. You should have put astronomer explains Aries failure and ether don't exist. You should have put astronomer tries to explain Aries failure incorrectly and tried to prove that ether don't exist. That's what you should have put. And talking about, or astronomer babbling on, or pretender clown. That's what you should have put. Pretender clown, astronomer babbling about ether all day while he's supposed to be trying to explain how Aries failure proves that the earth is in orbit. That's what you should have put. That would have been a good title. Astronomer pretender clown talking nonsense about ether while trying to prove that Aries failure proved that earth is in orbit. That's what you should have put. You should have put that, Tim. That would show you how smart you are. But you're not smart, Tim. You an idiot, Tim. Keep up. You was not keeping up with this conversation whatsoever. This moron is talking about fucking ether all day. He's even worse than Whitsitt. I mean, we should be calling him the sky grifter. He's a freaking ether clown.
And move laterally.
Okay.
So, Austin, my question to you is, if you had your water-filled telescope on Mars and you point at a star...
What the hell is he talking about Nadia for? Now we in Nadia. Now he's talking about La La Land. He's over here talking to us about Nadia. He's over here talking to us. He's over there talking to Whitsitt. He want Whitsitt to now go to Nadia to talk about his ether. That's what he want. He want Whitsitt to defend ether, because remember, that's his only contention, is that the ether don't exist. And now he want Whitsitt to talk about Nadia. He want Whitsitt to talk about a place that don't exist, a place he never been to, nobody has been to, a second law of thermodynamics violation. That's what he want Whitsitt to talk about. He want Whitsitt to talk about a space vacuum and a place in the space vacuum called Nadia. Second law of thermodynamics violation. That's what he want Whitsitt to talk about. He want Whitsitt to talk about Candyland. Candyland, and you could jump on the board and spin dice and get all the candy that you want. He want Whitsitt to talk about that. Because this is a pretender clown idiot that's sitting up here talking about ether all day, and notice he have not talked about anything of Aries failure. We all read it, everybody. We all read what Aries failure is about. So nobody can say regular Joe is just talking nonsense and he don't even know about Aries failure, because we all read it. We just read what it was about. It had absolutely nothing to do with ether at all.
Will you see stellar aberration consistent with Mars's orbital motion?
So it have nothing to do with fucking being on Mars neither. But, that's neither here or there. Nadia.
Or will it be affected by water?
If you went to Narnia, what would be your favorite color? I don't go to Mars, and that's
Rob like that. Rob, you should come on FED. Maybe 24/7. You would love to be there. I mean, you probably wouldn't. You probably would be getting called out for all of the nonsense you be talking about. But you would definitely love to be there when we call out these Nadia claims. How is it on Nadia? I went to Nadia the other day. The weather is fine. It's so beautiful. It's so great in Nadia. I could get my telescope and put water in it and fly around the ether all day. That don't exist. And talk about Nadia. Yes, there is definitely no second law of thermodynamics violation there. Nadia. Yeah. Nadia. I seen Rob there the other day. Nadia, how is it? How is it in the particle Nadia? Rob? Nothing, Mr. Nothing don't exist. How is it? Nothing don't exist, Rob? And Nadia. So beautiful in Nadia. Said the weather is great in Nadia. Yeah. So many hot chicks in Nadia. Hot alien purple Thanos chicks in Nadia. Is Thanos the granddaughter purple or is she green? I think she's green. Green chicks in Nadia. Yeah. I seen Star Trek the other day in Nadia.
irrelevant. It's a deflection. I'm going to correct. What he just said was the mainstream version. They do this with all truths, by the way. That's why we're going to have a Wikipedia truth box at the bottom of this channel. And they have to misrepresent this test. And it has nothing to do with ether.
Let me pause real quick. So just don't forget what you're going to say. I want to stress one of the challenges is earlier we were mentioning, Google, the argument was Google says men can get pregnant. Well, Google says it's not. But I will stress Wikipedia.
No, Google don't. Google actually say men can get pregnant. And I'm about to prove it. What's this? Maybe just this my thumb thing right here. No man cannot get pregnant, but then you go down. Check this out. Can men get pregnant? Outcomes for trans. Check this out. Yes, it's possible for men to become pregnant and give birth to children of their own. In fact, it's probably a lot more common than you might think. Huh, Tim Pool? Clearly, Tim Pool. Clearly, Stein was talking about things like this. He wasn't talking about AI saying, can men get pregnant? No, the men cannot get pregnant. This is because humans and other mammals do not have it. It's not that. It's not. That's AI. That's AI. This is AI. This is not like Google. This AI. But according to Google, these idiots that put stuff on Google, which you niggas all be citing, it say, can men get pregnant? Yes. It's possible for men to become pregnant. Can men become pregnant? With what to know? And then they go and then you get another answer and they get to talking about transsexuals. The answer depends on whether a person have a uterus or ovaries. So what are they trying to say? Men get ovaries. What are they trying to say? I proved my goddamn claim. He tried to say that Google was saying no. He was trying to say that Google was saying no definitively, and I then got maybe, yes, a straight up yes, maybe, it depends. let me see. People born with male reproductive system cannot get pregnant. That's a no. No, for that doctor says that in theory, men could attempt to become pregnant. That's like a yes. Like, what are we talking about, Tim? Huh, Tim? So that means Alex was correct? So Alex was basically correct in that, and I hate to be defending Alex with this nonsense, but I just approve a point that Google is a medium. It's not like a source of correct. Like, it's not something that you would use to correct people, right? Like, Google is like a medium. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like popular demand. Like, you could go on Google and you could come up with anything. Like, you could go on Wikipedia and come up with anything. You know, you could like, what people say is not evidence of the truth, because people could just say and write anything. People could say the most ludicrous nonsense. I mean, you got this idiot right here sitting up here talking about ether all day. He's supposed to be explaining Aries failure, but you got this moron talking about ether all day.
It's full of lies.
Yes.
And so if you look up my wiki, it claims, and this is totally irrelevant to the conversation, but it's relevant to Wikipedia. At some point, they added that I was a proponent of and sought out ivermectin, which is just could not be more false. I argued.
What the fuck is Tim talking about? What the fuck is what? So he interrupted Witsit. Witsit is finally about to talk. And Tim Pool is sitting over here talking about fucking Wikipedia right now. I mean, a conversation that been over. Now, you know, you guys seen. Go back to my review of the thing that I did with Flatzoid. Actually, I think I was on the first part of I think I was on I think I was with QE too. So I did a review with QE. QE is finishing the review actually. He's finishing his treatment on this, but I was on I was definitely on FED, reviewing this. I was definitely on FED reviewing this, but yeah, Tim Pool's an idiot actually. Well, Tim Pool's an idiot right now. I don't know how smart Tim Pool is with other things, but he's definitely a moron right now because Tim Pool's not keeping up. And a lot of the times when you moderating, you know, you want to have less color commentary as possible anyway. So Tim Pool's definitely not keeping up right now. I mean, he definitely should have read the fucking definition of Aries failure and just stayed to that. But for some reason, Tim want to talk about Wikipedia, which he's a moron. So I guess he's saying like, oh, well, yeah, I guess Tim Pool knows that this had nothing to do with ether. And he know that this Scott guy, that's his name, Scott, that he know that this Scott guy right now is talking absolute nonsense right now. And he know is definitely irrelevant to what Witsit was saying earlier. And he know that. So he's saying like, oh, yeah, don't listen to Witsit when Witsit brings up stuff that comes off the internet because, you know, the actual freaking definition, the actual summary of what Aries failure is. Don't listen to Witsit and all of the stuff that he got to back up what he's saying. You know, listen to this moron astronomer over here talking about stuff that's totally irrelevant and had absolutely nothing to do with his claim.
Against it to Joe Rogan on his own show. How they could put in something so false and all of these editors are like, no, it's true. Tim Pool did this. And I'm like, watch the Rogan episode.
We just got to make this about Tim. Oh, Tim. We got to make this about you.
It doesn't work. That, whether you agree or disagree on any of the arguments being made on Flat Earth, presents a troubling scenario where the average person cannot figure out what is. Right?
And now he's trying to put it on. Now he's trying to put it on the guy as if the guy got the correct definition, as if he's explaining it correctly, and he's going off of what Google is saying or what Wikipedia is saying. And I don't even think the guy is even going off of what Wikipedia is even saying, because Wikipedia, whenever they talk about Aries failure, they don't talk about ether. They're not talking about the ether that Witsit them's talking about. So no, the guy's not correct. So actually this whole rebuttal is coming at Witsit, because Witsit is actually talking about the actual summary of what Aries failure is. That's why Witsit said, yeah, y'all gonna put some nonsense up there with Wikipedia. But even though Wikipedia is really supporting what Witsit is saying, like honestly, I mean, we even read it. The stuff that they did put up there is basically supporting what Witsit is saying. So let's just be fair. What they did put up there is supporting what Whitsitt is saying. So, but they the ones that put it up there as some type of evidence.
Tim, that's one of my favorite things about astronomy is anyone can look up. It is the most open science there is.
There is no science in astronomy. There's no experiments. It's just you looking up stuff. So you're just looking up. That's what you're doing in astronomy. It's no scientific experiments. Even this is not a scientific experiment. So this astronomer don't know what the hell he's talking about again. There is no scientific experiment. There is no dependable or independent variable that you're manipulating in order for in the control with any control variables that you controlling in any environment that you are controlling. And there is no scientific theory behind anything that you're saying that is that where you could have a hypothesis test that you could basically demonstrate multiple times in order for you to get your scientific theory. So you don't have a scientific experiment being conducted with using a scientific method in order for you to conduct a hypothesis test, which is definitely requires a dependent, independent, and control variable where you can conduct a hypothesis test in order to prove a null or the alternative of that base experiment. You have none of that in astronomy. You only have the first part. This is basically observing something, which you don't even have really honestly an observation, and you only have like an observation through sight. It's not like you going to any of these planets or lights or stars or any of these things that you're going to. It's not like you actually doing a real, natural observation, or you're not doing anything as far as observing a natural effect in any manner of astronomy. I mean, you can only just say, I looked up and I seen the sky with a telescope and I seen this thing up there, but I cannot manipulate it. I cannot control I cannot control any variable there whatsoever. Therefore, I cannot construct a hypothesis. I can't do that. So you can't do anything with the scientific method in astronomy. So what this astronomer talking about is the most clear science there is. What the hell are you talking about? It's not. You're not doing any science whatsoever. You're not conducting any hypothesis test. Therefore, you don't have any scientific theory. Therefore, AKA, you have no model. No scientific theory, no model. Anything that's claimed to be science and claimed to have anything that claimed to be science with a scientific model, the model must be validated and verified with a hypothesis test using a scientific method. So you don't have that in astronomy, so I guess you have no motto at all. Can't call it a miniature model because you don't have a bigger model to basically be miniature to. A lot of people don't get that. Can't have a miniature model because you have to prove where that miniature model came from to be validated and true. That's why science uses scientific theories, which only can be conducted with a repeatable test. So a lot of idiots like to think scientific theories is just predictions and you just predicting something to be true. And if it's true, therefore, there go your scientific theory. No, that's not what a scientific theory is. Scientific theory actually need a hypothesis test to be tested multiple times. Using those three variables that I just basically basically told you guys about, and that's that. I mean, it's that simple. Science is a method, not a freaking theory. So
no astronomical observation that proves heliocentrism at all.
Oh, my bad. Not a freaking model. The model actually comes from the scientific theory. So if it's a scientific model, it must be validated with a scientific experiment using a scientific method. That's that simple. That's how I would. Yeah. Well, it's that simple. It's not how I would put it. That's just the method.
It works from a stationary Earth, but I don't want the point to get lost. I don't want the point to get lost. You just went on a long time, and you just said we can read in Wikipedia. The problem with it is, if what Wikipedia is showing is a lie, and you can prove it by going and reading the papers and looking at Aries' actual documents. Have you done that?
I have, and he says that it had a profound impact on the undulating theory of light. Okay, because ether was necessary for that lateral motion of the photon.
You've said that 4 times. Now
that's what his paper said.
Okay, now I'm going to point out why you're wrong. So you actually claimed, just so for the audience to understand, you have to look at a star with a telescope, and to keep the star in the center of your telescope, you have to tilt it. because it comes in at an angle. So the analogy he used is a good one. It's like rain. If it's raining straight down, but you run through it, even though the rain's falling straight down, it's going to look like it's coming in at an angle. And if you run faster, the angle is going to increase, right? So the idea is the Earth is moving around the sun, making the star look like it's coming in at an angle because of the orbital velocity of the Earth. Now, he claimed at the beginning that's why we have stellar aberration, because of orbital velocity.
Now check this out. They saying that the light is coming in at an angle. This is a line of sight coming from a star. So if the light coming from the star at an angle, which is a line of sight, which means that it's coming vertical to the Earth, which definitely have to be fixed. Now they're just talking about the differential where the light will hit. Basically, they're talking about getting ground position. So if the light get in a geographical position at an angle, of course, they're going to claim that the Earth is moving. So if the Earth is moving, you would get it at an either wider angle. So if the Earth is not moving, you would get it. You don't need no tilt to the telescope or anything like that. You could just be correct, even just stand still. You don't got to adjust it in any type of way. But if the Earth is moving, of course, you would have to adjust it. So the angle will be even wider. They don't see the angle actually being wider. So therefore, the Earth is not moving. Now, guess what else they proving? Now, guess what other thing they proving? This angle that they talking about, this line of sight vertical angle that they're gonna have to get on the horizontal plane. Guess what else they proving, y'all? Sound like they proving a flat Earth, right? Using elevation angles to a star. Okay.
Velocity. We had nothing to do with ether. You claim that it comes at an angle because of orbital velocity. What he pointed out was, well, wait, if water is going to slow down the light, that's going to increase the amount of time it takes for the light to get through the telescope. It would be like speeding up in the rain. So it should actually increase the angle. It did not. Has nothing to do with ether. The fact that it may also have an implication, sure, because either light's in a medium or it's not. The test isn't about the ether. The test is about actually isolating the causal mechanism of stellar aberration. So my question is, if you're claiming that it does tilt because of the orbital velocity initially, you claimed that was the cause of stellar aberration, why didn't it change when you increased the amount of time it took the light to get through the telescope?
Because the water slows it down on all axes.
Now, real quick, can you define stellar aberration for those that don't know?
So stellar aberration is what I was talking about with how the rain, if you're running in the rain, you got to tilt your umbrella down.
Man, he asked you to define it. He ain't asked you to give an example. How can you give an example or an analogy before defining what it is? I mean, I could just simply just go right on ChatGPT and define what it is. Like, I mean, how is that hard? I mean, it's very simple. I mean, how to define something. How is that even hard? It's not. You could easily do it real quick. Like, you could literally go on ChatGPT and get a definition of what it is. At least get the mainstream definition, something that you supposed to be defending, since the mainstream definition will be supporting your globe.
But it could also be the wind is blowing the rain at you, and that's
what's so funny about these anti-flat earthers. They always go against the mainstream definitions. Like, they even bigger conspirators than the freaking flat earthers. Like, you notice that, like, that all the globers and anti-flat earthers go against the mainstream definition. They all smarter than the mainstream people. They all smarter than the official definition of things. They all smarter than the official officials. The official summary of all experiments that they claim is experiments. They smarter than all of them, but they use all of them as they use all of these mainstream academia. They use all of mainstream academia as a hostile witness to their claim. So they just make up their own claim that is not basically in line with the mainstream, but they use them as a hostile witness because they came up with the same conclusion. So they just all smarter than them. And they love to put that on a flat earther and say, oh, so you just smarter than all of academia. And like, it seems like you're smarter than all of academia, because most of the time you guys just come up with your own way to explain things. You come up with a total different definition of things. Like this guy, he can't even give you the mainstream definition of what was asked of him. But he decided that he want to give an analogy instead. How you gonna give an analogy or an example of something without giving a definition of it first? Because he got his own way he want to explain it.
That's why you have to tilt your umbrella down. But regardless of that, the idea
And Wissett already explained that part. He's really trying to explain Aries' failure. He's not even talking about it.
is the stellar light, the light of the star is deflected either due to our motion around the sun, or if you want to believe the sun's motion and the universe's motion around us. But it's that relative motion that's causing it.
So check this out. He's saying, are his motion around the sun or the universe motion around us? Oh, okay, well, if it's not our motion around the sun, see, he think he's smart. If it's not our motion around the sun, and it's the actual universe, which will be like a galaxy or a solar system that is actually revolving around us, if that is the true dichotomy. Either we are revolving around the sun, and the universe is fixed, or the universe is revolving around us, and we're fixed in the center. That's the dichotomy here. There is not no it's not no it's both. Both can be true. No. Either the one or the other in this test. That's why Aries failure. That's why they call this. That's why Aries failure is either proving one or the other. That's what's going on here. So according to you guys, now this is not like a flat earther slam dunk. According to them, is either proving one or the other. So you can't say, oh, well, no, it's actually proving both of them.
To deflect. And so depending on what time of year you look at a star, it's going to be in a very...
And it's not, oh, well, you look at the star at this time of the year, and it's going to look like you do this experiment at this time of the year, it's actually going to show that, oh, yeah, the Earth is definitely moving. And if you look at the star at this time of the year, it's definitely going to show that the Earth is not moving. So what did you try to say? Then you can't not use Aries failure to validate great. Then I mean that Aries failure is not proving that this is still a win for Wissett, because then now you're saying that Aries failure has errors within itself, and what you're saying, Aries failure is not a good experiment to use at all. You're saying that Aries failure is so faulty that you cannot use it as an experiment, because at some times of the year it proves that the Earth is spinning, and some time of the year it proves that the Earth is not spinning. Good. That means Wissett still wins then, because that means you cannot trust Aries failure because it's not consistent. Dummy.
Slightly different place.
I mean, Aries failure is fallible. It's not consistent. It proves one thing one day, it proves the other thing the next. There's no dichotomy where Aries failure, because it's proving both dichotomies. It seems like it appears to prove both of them. That means it's faulty. Or the scientist or all of the scientists is fallible, which it shouldn't be. Because science is a method, the scientific method kind of, take out all fallibility, and you usually have to account for all fallible scientists. So, you have to, that's why the test is supposed to be repeatable. And if the test is not repeatable, the experiment in itself is fallible. So the experiment in itself is not trustworthy. I hate to say all these stupid words, fallible and not consistent and all that nonsense. The experiment in itself is not trustworthy, because scientists keep screwing it up. Maybe the logic behind the experiment is not holding up. Therefore, the experiment is not, or maybe the scientific experiment is not really a scientific experiment, like Aries failure. It's not really a scientific experiment, really. There's no independent variable there. So you're not doing nothing but just controlling the telescope, which is synthetic. You're not actually controlling the organic variable there at all. You're just controlling the telescope, and whether or not the light, you're not actually controlling the light. You're not actually controlling. You're not controlling anything, honestly. You're not manipulating no independent variable in this experiment at all. You're just tilting the telescope. Which is synthetic. Telescopes are synthetic. You doing something with the water, that's synthetic. Only thing you can say about is the light. But honestly, it's even synthetic with the light, because you're manipulating the water in order to do something with the light. So it's a measurement at best. That's really what it is. It's just an observation. It's just a measurement.
It's about 20 arc seconds different depending on which time of year you're looking at the star.
That's the
So-
aberration, just to make it
That's
clear
the
to you.
that's the basic aberration. So that's stellar aberration in a nutshell. Now, what Austin is suggesting is that we should see a different deflection, even without ether, that we would see a different amount of deflection if we slow the light down in water.
Now check this out. Did Witsis say anything about ether? Or ether? Did Witsis say anything about ether? No. Witsis didn't say anything about ether.
Water before it reaches the end of the telescope. But the problem with that is that it suggests that water would have some way of knowing that, this vector towards the bottom of the telescope, I'm going to slow it down that direction, but I'm not going to have an impact on the lateral motion due to Earth moving. No, that doesn't work that way. It's going to slow it down, and it will still reach the bottom of the telescope in the same angle that it came into the telescope on, and that's exactly what happened.
Okay, so
That doesn't
let's
make
make sure
sense.
it makes literally no sense. It
It makes no sense. He don't understand the damn experiment. I mean, I don't understand why Tim Pool thought this was some type of slam dunk. It's just clearly showing that this idiot don't know what he's talking about.
Earth is moving underneath the starlight. As it goes through the water, it's going to slow down. Now the Earth has moved further underneath the star than if it had gone through without the water, because now it's taking the starlight longer to get to you. The Earth is going to keep supposedly moving 67,000 miles per hour. That means it's going to have a greater angle. There
No,
is
but that
no even
assumes-
mainstream academic rebuttal to this. So your hand wave dismissal, claiming that I'm invoking the sentience of water, doesn't even make any sense. So you've been
It's
patently
not
wrong.
a hand wave dismissal, and you're assuming. See, your description of it there has an implicit assumption that because Earth keeps moving, that the light will have a greater deflection in the water. That would imply that this inherent motion caused by Earth's motion.
This is a moron, and he don't even know that light reflected into the water is a flat Earth proof. What an idiot! Then another thing is too. He's basically misrepresented what Witsit is saying. He's saying that the angle will be greater, the light reflecting at a greater angle into the water. That's what Witsit is actually saying, which means that the Earth, since the Earth is moving, it should be at a greater angle in the water. Dummy. It's not reflected in a greater angle. You're not getting the same angle. You're trying to come up with a apology or why the experiment is coming in at an incorrect angle. Instead of just saying like, oh, well, it's a failure because it's not coming in at the. I mean, it would have been better if you just say like, oh, well, sometimes it does this time of the year, and then sometimes it does this at this time of the year, which would make this experiment a failure anyway. So I don't even know why you even trying to. Why did you decide to come with Aries failure as some type of proof? It doesn't prove Earth orbiting at all. So this is absolute nonsense. You don't even know anything about Aries failure at all.
This stellar aberration has some way of still manifesting differentially from the downward motion of the photon down the telescope tube. It doesn't have any way of doing that.
That's what you claimed. You claimed the reason it came in at an angle was the Earth was moving.
The reason it came in at an angle is because the Earth is moving, but when it hits the water, it slows down, but it slows down equally in all directions. That means the angle through the telescope is still the same, and it still reaches the bottom of the telescope.
What makes a difference whether it's going lateral?
See, this is what I don't like. I don't know why Rob decides to interrupt these conversations as if he got something profound to say. Shut the fuck up. You're not even in this debate. Shut up. What do it matter? Shut up. Who cares? Shut up. You follow it. Shut up. Keep up, Rob. Keep up. Like even I would have like, listen, if I was sitting there, if I was in Rob's place and Winston and this guy's having a back and forth, I wouldn't just interrupt them two's back and forth. It's not like you on Discord and you just got to get in there and get a point across. Shut up. You're not moderating the debate. You're not doing anything. You just adding shit in there that Winston already addressed. They're addressing it now. Keep up. Oh, you keep on saying it. I don't know why you keep on saying that. Shut up. What are you talking about? Get the hell out of the discussion. We heard this guy talk for listen. We heard this guy talk from this time all the way from what was it? This is at the 1 minute 59. So you can say 1 minute all the way. Shit, Wiz didn't even get a turn to talk. He talked for 3 minutes here. Look, Wiz didn't even get a turn to talk because Tim Pool got in right there. So you could say Wiz had like a minute. Then look, he's talking right now. Boom, he's talking right now. 4:17. Whitson didn't even get in there until like 4:23. So you might as well say it was already 3 minutes and like it was like 3 minutes in like 30 seconds. He got another 30 seconds, which made it 4 minutes. Then here come Whitson. He finally get to talk. He cuts Whitson off. Now he's talking again. Whitson finally get a chance to talk a little bit. Look how long Whitson talking. Not even 2 minutes. Whitson started around 4:58. That's not even 1 minute passing yet. 1 minute. Look, these niggas already jumped in. Whitson had 1 minute to talk. 60 seconds. Look who's talking again. I want y'all to remember this too. At this part of the so-called debate, it was really Whitson's turn to talk. Whitson brought up these points. It was Whitson's turn to talk, actually. So this guy should have came with a close. He should have came with a closed argument. It should have only been like maybe 3 minutes tops, and then Whitson should have had a rebuttal for it. Whitson should have had at least 4 or 5 minutes to rebut it. Then they should have went back and forth. Did that happen? No, it didn't happen. This guy talked for 4 minutes at first. Then Whitson got a minute in, and then this guy talking again. Wow, listen, you can't even say Whitson got a 4 minute because he been talking the whole time since Whitson been talking. So you might as well say he been talking for like the whole damn 7 minutes. Whitson only had 1 minute to talk on his own. Now here he is talking again. Here he is talking again. So he been talking this whole time with Whitson. Right? Look, he's talking again for another minute. Whitson finally get back in there for not even a minute. I mean, you could say 30 seconds. Guess who's talking again? Him. He's talking again at 7:50 for another 30 seconds. Him and Whitson going, finally having a back and forth. Finally, these two having a back and forth. And look who decide. Right, Whitson finally about to get back in there, and look who's talking again. Him again. So this guy literally been talking this whole time for the whole 8 minutes. He took over the whole conversation, just running his mouth. He's the only one that had a long time to talk. And guess who decides to jump in the damn conversation at the last part of it? Rob. Now remember, at the beginning of this, Rob was running his mouth for like 10 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So Rob is getting like 5-6 minutes to talk. This guy getting like 5-6 minutes to talk, and then then Whitson come in for 1 minute, and one of these three idiots got to jump in the conversation. They just got to jump in the conversation. And I guess Rob looked at Tim for not jumping in, and he looked at this moron for not jumping in, and he decides that he wants to jump in. He basically is like, oh, we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that this guy do not get more than a minute to run his mouth. That's what we're going to do. What is your purpose of even jumping in? And then check this out. He didn't ask Whitson to elaborate on anything, even though it is Whitson's turn to talk. Didn't ask Whitson to elaborate on anything. He waited for him to start running his mouth. It's still supposed to be Whitson's turn to talk. This guy running his mouth, going on a minute. And what Rob do? Rob decides that he want to jump in and ask this guy another question, ask him to explain something else. The same thing that Tim did, to ask this guy to explain something else. So this guy could talk for another fucking 5 minutes or another 3 minutes, to be fair. Another 3 minutes. So that means he talked 3 minutes. He talked 3 minutes at this point. Then Tim put his dumb ass in there. Witsit get maybe in a couple seconds, and that's when he got his minute. Then he's got talk again for, like, you might as well say him and Witsit been going back and forth. He's got talks again for maybe a 1 minute. Out of this whole 10-minute conversation, Witsit maybe got 2 minutes in where he's talking. 2 minutes. Check this out. Look at Rob. He just got to get in it. He set up here and he jumps in a conversation and not try to get Witsit to elaborate on anything, right? He trying to get the other guy to elaborate on something. So now he's going to get more time to talk. Check this out.
But that's my point. It doesn't. It's a
okay. So then why are you adding that in there? Then you keep saying that
because Austin's description implies that it's only going to slow down as far as how far vertically it's coming down. Imagine the stars right above you. How slow it's.
So imagine the stars right above you. What is right above you? A star, if you are an astronomer. At his zenith. This guy is a total pretender clown.
Coming down the telescope, right? Vertically. But in order for it to have a different angle of deflection due to the water, it has to continue to move at the same rate laterally that it did when it entered the telescope. But that requires
I'm not about to be here for an hour.
Because if it doesn't,
y'all
if
get
the
it.
ether isn't there, because if the ether is not there to
see now it's him and Rob talking. Fuck Witsit. Fuck the guy that brought up the shit. You see what I'm saying? And I hate that I cuss on my channel. So F the guy that brought up the conversation. Fuck him. You know what I'm saying? F him. I'm gonna jump in this and I'm gonna have a conversation with him because Witsit, you're not doing good enough. Witsit only had 2 minutes to talk. And I don't even think Witsit is even gonna talk no more after this, bro.
and train it, then there's nothing.
And Tim Pool put this on here as if this guy was like beating these dudes in the argument or something, like he was winning the argument. I tell you, it's a thing with these Globers. These Globers believe the more they talk, and that's not just Globers. That's just all these internet debaters. They believe, or so-called debaters, they believe the more I talk, the more I win. If I can talk more than you, I'm winning. That's what they believe. And most of the time they believe I could talk as much nonsense as I want. Long as I'm talking and you're not, long as I'm talking more than you, it's not even more if you're not talking. Long as I'm talking more than you, I'm winning because I'm talking more than you. That's what these idiots believe, bro. They don't understand, like, hey, you can make a point and shut up and allow somebody to respond. They make another, then come with a rebuttal. They don't understand that. They don't understand the actual interaction. The only thing that they understand is I got to talk more than you. And if I could talk more than you, you know what I'm saying, then I win because I'm shutting you up. But you ain't shutting shit up. You just talking more than me and causing audio chaos. So that's what this guy basically did. He just ran his mouth for like 10 minutes straight about nothing. Basically, he was really talking about ether. Finally, Witsit come with a response, and look, his whole argument got to change now. But he's going to try to bring it back to ether.
Nothing to cause it to deflect at a different angle as it comes down the water.
Wow.
It'll simply slow down along its velocity vector, which in this case, in my example, is vertical. It'll just slow down, right?
It's going to slow down in the velocity vector, which is vertical. Yeah, dummy. Yeah, it's a velocity vector. Yeah, it's going to come vertical, dum-dum. Yeah, it's coming from a star. Yeah, moron. Yeah, genius. It's going to come vertical. Yeah. You said on the top of your head from it. Yeah, your zenith. Yeah, vertical, stupid. Yeah, we get it. Of course, it's going to come vertical, science boy. Astronomer.
It's not going to go.
The Earth is still
laterally.
moving.
The Earth is still moving underneath it.
Right. The
You're
Earth is still moving.
contradicting yourself. You're claiming it causes an angle change because of the Earth moving underneath it, and then you're turning around and claiming that the Earth moving underneath it wouldn't cause an angle change.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming an angle change during the water transit, though. You're
You
claiming
can't pick and choose. Either it's causing it or it's not causing it. And there's no mainstream academic
this is
rebuttal
the
to this.
explanation, though. It's already.
Now, that should have just ended it right there. Because that is exactly what he's doing. Now, really, what he was originally doing was proving that the ether don't exist. So, therefore, you don't have the ether. So, if you don't have the ether, the Earth must be moving. Now, now that it's going to the original point, and with the experiment is the actual summary that the experiment is actually explaining to him. Now he have to explain what the so-called experiment is doing. In the experiment, he's not talking about nothing about no ether. He's just basically talking about the experiment and what the experiment is actually doing, which is coming in at an angle. And if we see this angle, this our prediction. This is our prediction. It should come in at this angle, and we should have to tilt the telescope in order to. I already explained that earlier. So now he have to explain all of that, and they walking him through it. And now he got to figure out how he's going to Jedi mind trick them into saying, "Oh yeah, it's coming. Oh yeah, the Earth got to come in at this angle in order for them to do this, but it don't have to come in at this angle in order to prove that the Earth is stationary. Oh yeah, it's showing that the Earth is definitely. Oh yeah, it's showing that the vertical from the star, which is a flat Earth measurement that we have to get from that, which you have to get a horizontal line to get an elevation angle to. Oh yeah, we got to show that this vertical line of sight to this star, if it comes in at this angle, it can move. That means that the Earth is fixed, and it means that the Earth is not fixed. But if it come in at a wider angle, that means that the Earth is fixed, and that means that it's not fixed. It's just basically saying like, oh, the thing that's disproving my claim, I'm gonna use it to prove my claim. It's just a stupid tactic that Globers use. All Globers use this tactic. They do it with the black swan. They do it with all the tactics. Refraction is really your flat Earth proof.
It's already angled when it enters the telescope tube, right? It's not going to suddenly change angle because water's slowing it down, because water's slowing it down in all directions. So you can't have an angle change unless something is in training.
What part don't he understand that the angle is wider? That mean it.
Which would be ether.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast.
Yeah, you an idiot, Tim. You are a moron. And look what Tim look what Tim wants to talk about. He want to talk about the flat Earth. I mean, he want to talk about outer space and filled with a mysterious ether. It's not empty. Yeah. Pretender clowns. Actual pretender clowns. Well, let me give you a preview of where I'm going to be. I will be here,
and they wanna just
with PJ, good buddy PJ over here. He's over here reviewing. I guess he's reviewing Flatzoid and Luke's second stream together. The truth about capitalism exposed. And PJ's up here with Miss Mop and all the rest of them, and they talking about capitalism and how it's absolute, the things that happens there, things that we all know about. And I will be joining there probably shortly, because I pretty much already went through the whole Witsit things multiple times, so I don't think there's no reason for me to go back through it. That's pretty much what it is. And like I said, it's kind of a big thing in the community right now, and I'm just giving a little flat Earth updates right now. This whole drawing of the lines, these little war lines that they got going on in the community. So you got the Globe Busters, you got the FED, you got all these little subsections. You got the TikTokers, you got the Clubhouse, you got Flat Earth on X, and Flat Earth Friday and all these guys. So you got the Etherites and you got the Tarnias. You know, you got the Truthers and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's getting kind of interesting. Me, I'm interested in pretty much all of it, but I only like to talk about things that I can actually prove, things that's factual, and things that not make sense to me. I don't talk about things that, oh, well, that makes sense to me. No, I talk about things that I can actually, prove, I can actually validate to be true, to make logical reasoning sense. Not really too much about no logical framework, because anything in nature goes beyond logic. Anything that you could observe in nature goes really beyond that, opposed to superseding anyway. So I just think that it's getting quite interesting. But that's pretty much the gist of what was going on with that. That was pretty much a big discussion that we had on FED yesterday. We talked about it for maybe 10 hours straight, and it was pretty interesting. I would like to say the least. It was pretty interesting. But I had my point of view. It got a little bit it got a little intense. I guess Whitsitt had his point of view, and some people sided with Whitsitt, some people sided with the other side, which is FED, which I usually side with FED on this side, which I actually understand their point. I understand both of their points, honestly, because Whitsitt do go around saying that light don't travel. He do go around basically with a claim of ether, and Whitsitt did at that moment pretty much say that light travel at that moment. So he did contradict himself there, in order for him to move the conversation forward to the premise that he wanted. So, they have a point there when Whitsitt condemned them of talking about light traveling and things of that nature. But do Whitsitt condemn them when they talk about light traveling? Or do they start an argument with Whitsitt about ether? You see what I'm saying? So it depends on, and Whitsitt was trying to make an argument like, hey, well, it really depends on the context of what's going on, which I think those was the wrong words. I wouldn't have worded it that way. I would have worded it as in like, hey, look, the main premise that was being discussed at the time was, you got to have caveats with everything. The main premise that was being discussed at the time of whether or not the earth was spinning. That was the main premise at the time. So I was willing to concede a point in order to move it to the conclusion of whether or not the earth is spinning. Now, I wanted to move it to the conclusion of, based upon your logic, right? Based upon this experiment, which is mainstream, something that you, with something that you hold as a validation. You hold this experiment at a validation, and this experiment says it does this, and this. Now, I don't have to believe everything in this experiment to do this, and this. So whether you want to call it an observation or not, I don't have to believe that observation is saying this, and this. You could say that light is traveling. I could say that light is doing this. The point of the matter is that light is definitely doing something in this experiment and showing this, whether the earth is fixed or whether the earth is moving. So I could concede to the point that the light is doing this in this experiment, right? I could concede to that we know that the light is going to show some type of angle in this telescope where it's proven or whether or not the earth is fixed or whether or not the earth is not fixed, right? It's had nothing to do with ether, had nothing to do with any of that. We only talking about what is going on with this telescope and whether or not you have to tilt this telescope in order to correct for the earth moving, or whether you just keep the telescope pretty much still, and and there's no need for a correction because the earth is fixed. It's actually parallel to a star, right? So I mean, it's more of a flat earth measurement proof than Aries failure is really proving the earth is being measured flat. You could use it for that. But That's it. You know, Wizard really could have took the argument to, yeah, and how are they getting that angle? Like Wizard could have really took it there. Like, yeah, how you getting that angle again? Despite whatever the light is doing, how you getting that angle? Like Wizard could have took it there, but you know, I guess he wasn't trying to be, you know, cheeky. But he tried to keep it to the point of whether or not the Earth is spinning, or whether the Earth is spinning or not. He tried to keep it to that, and he was willing to concede his belief of light traveling or not traveling. He was willing to concede that, which they call it Witsit a liar, because Witsit condemned FED for believing that for believing that light do travel. So like, hey, you condemning me for light for me saying that light travel, and based on this experiment, you see that light is traveling. That's how they're getting it. And you saying that light is doing something different. It propagates through a medium that you call in the ether. That the light is instant, that is always there, and it's just illuminating through the ether. You see what I'm saying? So you saying something different there, but you just gotta look. It's a shaky little argument. It's something that really can. It's something that if they really listen to each other, they could go, oh yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Just like when I had the little discussion with him, I say, okay, I get your point, but I get his point too. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's plenty of debates you can look at. Look at any debate. You will see all the time that most debaters usually concede to something that they don't believe. You know what I'm saying? They usually concede to something that they don't believe in. It's called an internal critique, you know, or it's called, or they may say, oh, well, based in your logic. Now, remember, when I say based in your logic, it's not my logic. Matter of fact, it could be something that I'm contending with, but according to you, you see what I'm saying? This. Now, it's not my logic. I don't believe in it. You see what I'm saying? It's not how I go about my day. It's not what I'm thinking. It's not my logical reasoning. It's not my reasoning. But according to you, it says this. So I believe when Wizard said, well, the mainstream says this, or Wikipedia says this, I don't agree with it, but this is what Wikipedia say. So even with that, it's proven that the Earth is fixed. That's not Wizard being a liar at that point, because Wizard is saying, well, Wikipedia says this, not that I'm saying this, but Wikipedia is saying this, and this is just a bunch of nonsense that you guys believe in. What Wizard did say it was nonsense, and he said Wikipedia says this, and they just lie and make stuff up, and this is a bunch of nonsense. But according to them, it says this, and even with that, it proved this. How can you go about that? And then they went on to carry the discussion. So that was already Wizard disavowing what Wikipedia was saying, or disavowing whatever they brought up. You know, because they don't want to put the Aries failure on the screen. Wizard thought it was going against what he was saying. They put it on the screen when actually he was supporting what he was saying. And Wizard was like, well, even by this, it's still explaining my point. Even though I don't even agree with it, but it's still explaining what I said. So this supporting my point. It's not you using this as an argument for you, but it's actually supporting my premise. And even though I don't even agree with all of it, which Witzer said he don't agree with none of it, honestly. So, you know, to sit up here and say like, oh, well, Witzer is being a liar. He's actually, you know, he's saying like, hey, this is what they believe. But they was kind of missing that part. And they was like, oh, well, he said, So you saying that he has to lie. Well, he's not lying because he clearly said he don't agree with it. So how's that lying? If you telling me, if I'm trying to prove that the sky is blue, right, for whatever reason, right, if I'm trying to prove that the sky is blue, but 2 years ago, I said lions, if I try to prove that the sky is blue, but 2 years ago, I said something about, let's say I said something about a space shuttle or NASA or something. Let's say I said that they never went to the moon or something. Right? And then somebody say, oh, well, no, the sky is red. And they believe in moon landings. Now, if they use an argument about when they went to the moon, right? When a space shuttle so-called went to the moon, and I say, well, I could take your home moon landing, and in that very same thing, I say, well, I could take your own moon landing because that day the sky was blue, and the astronauts in that so-called spaceship, by your own example, all the astronauts said the sky was blue that day. Now, I don't even believe that they even went to the moon. Am I saying at that point that they went to the moon? Right? Am I saying at that point they went to the moon? Of course not. I'm just using their own logic and their own example against them. Like, hey, well, listen, even I'm using them as a hostile witness from the beginning. That's the case. You can't have a hostile witness according to them. You see what I'm saying? You can't even have a hostile witness. It's pretty much like, okay, well, if you use this witness, you must agree with they believe in. You must agree with them. No, I'm using them as a hostile witness. According to them, they supporting my example, or they supporting my premise. But this is a hostile witness. They don't believe in the same thing I believe in. Me and this hostile witness don't agree with one another. But we do agree on the fact. We do agree on this fact right here, which the fact that we may agree on may support my premise, or they may even agree on my premise. Period. Such in this example. The fact of the matter is, Witsit probably disagree on the fact that light traveling, but the people that conducted that same experiment came up with the same premise, or came up with the same conclusion that Witsit came up with. So Witsit is supporting that the Earth is fixed, and this is what Aries failure is showing. That's why they call it a failure. They call it a failure because this experiment or observation is demonstrating that the Earth is fixed. Now, Witsit don't believe in light traveling and all this nonsense, but he could concede that because that's not why he's talking about Aries failure. He's talking about Aries failure, right? Now, if he was talking about Aries failure to bring up something about ether, then it would be a different story. So if he's arguing with Nathan Oakley and QE about ether and light traveling and light propagating through mediums and all that nonsense, you know what I'm saying? If he's talking about that, okay, now he's in a different discussion. He's not talking about Aries failure proving whether or not the Earth is spinning or not. Now, QE and Nathan Oakley can show, well, you can't even have Aries failure without, you know what I'm saying? They could come up with an argument like that. Well, hey, you can't even have Aries failure because Aries failure clearly says that light is traveling and it slows down in a liquid medium. Good argument. But don't say the guy's lying when he's talking to a glober about whether or not the Earth is spinning or not, because he's not about whether or not the light is slowing down in the water. It's about whether or not, it's not about that. It's not. The purpose of him arguing with the glober is whether or not the Earth is spinning. That's what they talking about. That's what the main premise at. Now, if he's in an argument about ether, then yeah, he's in trouble. You see what I'm saying? But he ain't in trouble because he only talking about the Earth spinning. So that right there is the only reason. That's not the only reason, but that's like the main reason why I would give him a pass on that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, just to have a petty "I gotcha" is just ridiculous. You know, I would give him a pass on that. I would just say like, oh well, listen, okay, you want to move the conversation to its premise. I wouldn't even say move the conversation forward because that's just silly. That's just silly to say. I would just say you want to move the conversation to its premise. The conversation that is premise at that time was that the Earth was spinning and the Earth was spinning, or whether or not the Earth was spinning. Okay, you conceded that point. You used the globe argument. You used their own argument against them, right? Or you used their own evidence that he brought up against them, against his own self. Great. Now you in the room with me, and you said that the light don't travel. That's how I would have took it. with Nathan Oakley. I'm like, okay, well, now you in the room with me, and you said light don't travel. Well, how can you have this experiment? This experiment clearly saying that light slows down in the liquid medium. Is light not traveling? How can you have rate in the water? Now you got a debate with Whitsitt. But you can't sit up here and call him a liar because he said something on the show when he was arguing about something else. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, but you told me on this show, da-da-da-da-da. Great. Now we could continue that debate. But let's not call each other. That's all I'm saying. Let's not call each other liars because, you know what I'm saying, because he's telling you one thing and now he's in a whole different debate and he's saying something else. Yeah, but he's only conceding. It's a difference between lying and changing positions and conceding. You're not changing a position because you concede into something. You could concede and still believe in the same nonsense. I could concede that God don't exist, right, to somebody and still believe God don't exist. Am I lying? No. Am I changing the position? No. I'm just conceding to it to basically move on from the argument. I'm not about to keep on arguing with you about a point when I'm trying to explain something about Martians. You know, I could sit up here and be arguing with people about aliens and with a Christian. But I could sit up here and say, hey, the Christians get to talking about Jesus all day. And I can say, oh yeah, well he died on the cross. Just to move the argument, like okay, I can see that I could see he died on the cross to make a conversation forward. Yeah, I can see that they said that he died on the cross. To move the conversation forward to its premise, the aliens exist. Now, if I'm arguing about whether or not aliens exist, and I can see that aliens don't exist. And I can see aliens don't exist, and I'm trying to have some internal critique about it. Then I'm like, then my opponent could go, okay, argument's over. Why? Because we arguing about whether or not the aliens exist. And I think that's what they do. I think FED is looking at it like Whitsitt is arguing about light traveling at that moment. When actually he's not. He's arguing about whether or not the earth is spinning. If he was arguing about light traveling in the ether, which that guy was trying to bait Whitsitt into that argument, if he was arguing about that, and Whitsitt was to say, well, yeah, light travel, then the guy would have been like, oh, you know, that's it. The argument's over. You just said light travel. The argument's over. You see what I'm saying? The debate is over. He already conceded to the main premise. So I just think, you know what I'm saying? Like we you know, but these conversations get heated, you know what I'm saying? These conversations get very, very, very heated. And I enjoy them, you know. I enjoy them a lot. But they do get heated though. It get heated. And it's kind of like it is in a way, both parties are ignorant because Whitsitt ain't really had no reason to be calling none of them retards. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we playing, all of us though, playing tit for tat. You know what I'm saying? We all calling each other retards and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it get heated. It's just a heated argument, and it's a tit for tat thing. Oh, I got you on this, I got you on that, and that's really what it's about. There's just really, and I believe Nathan them need to be honest with everybody, and be honest with the audience, and say, yeah, we kind of understand what Whitsitt is doing, but we just wanted to get him on that. It's really it's a I got you moment. Yeah, you can't say that no more. I got you, and if they do that, I will be cool, but don't call us what they say, Whitsitizers. You've been Whitsitized. Oh, man, yeah, we've been Whitsitized or whatever. They yelled and screamed at me and AI, but that's cool. I still like them. I still love him. I still sub to FED. I'm still going to support his channel. especially Nathan Oakley and QE. I still gonna support both of their channels. I like all their channels. I mean, I look at Witsit sometimes. I mean, I'm about to start back looking at Witsit. I mean, Witsit talk about a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but you know, a lot of stuff that Witsit talk about, you know, I look at it and see what he's talking about. I'll give him a chance or whatever. I mean, like I said, I looked at the Tim Pool thing, you know, and I looked at Tim Pool a lot. Like I said, that's how I know Tim Pool really don't know nothing about this stuff. Like, really, Tim Pool don't. This is not Tim Pool's stick. It's not like this is what Tim Pool talks about all the time. Literally, Tim Pool don't know nothing about this stuff. Like, honestly, this is not something he talks about every day. He's not like a genius. He's no scientist or any of that. Like, he's not like some guy that's just out here debating flat earthers or something. Like, he's not doing none of that. So, Tim Pool, like, I could give him kind of a pass, but then I can't give him a pass because I know Tim Pool is smart enough to know that guy did not explain anything about Aries' failure actually accurately. I mean, I just read that. I think the little brief summary that I gave, and I don't even know everything about Aries' failure, but the brief summary that I gave was way better than what that guy did. Like, honestly, you know what I'm saying? He went completely anti-global. He went anti-flat earther mode for absolutely no reason. Then Tim Pool asked him to basically define something, and he coming up with analogies before he even defining it. I'm like, now this dude is just disrespecting you. So yeah, man, I don't get it, you know. But these guys, man, I don't get them. You know, I try to, you know. Then I'm gonna go in the little comments. I'm gonna put in the comments like, hey, what is you guys talking about? Come in there with my little arguments, piss off some Globers and go from there, you know. But yep, this RegJoe. I'm about to go ahead and holler at PJ, go live and chill with them for a second. See what they talking about, or you may catch me on QE's channel. I'll see if he finished up the whole Witsit thing. I doubt QE's gonna finish it. I seriously doubt he's gonna finish it. Let's see if he's gonna finish it. I'm still in there too.
With Constantino.
Yeah.
No,
I know
not
now who it was who overtold.
Shut up, Brian. Flatsy, who was it?
R. Duncan.
No, that's not Neil.
It is Neil.
That's his first name?
He goes by Neil in other servers.
Oh, okay. I got to turn you down.
My bad.
Duncan, you were a little loud.
That's why I
Go
changed
ahead.
to R.
Oh boy.
He's got some latency.
You got some serious latency issues because you were still talking when it was on mute. Yeah. You might want to drop out, come back in.
It was AI who was making the noise over what I was going to say.
He's trying to get on AI.
He was burping or something?
Yeah, he's the one that came in and made the noise.
Unconscionable bastard.
This like dogma is so antithetical to science or
what dogma? What are you talking? Where are we at?
All right.
Antithetical to science. What dogma?
Discovery and knowledge. Throughout all of history, someone's made a random discovery that shattered the current paradigm. Right?
Like what?
That's what happens.
That's what happens. Like what?
You know what? I'm
Every
probably going to chill in here for a second.
Rule ridicules those who point out that there may be alternative.
And that's literally because
the evidence doesn't match it. And
hold up.
Just give us an example. I'm not refuting. I'm not trying to debunk that, but give us an example for goodness sakes.
And that's literally because
but no, I don't know. You haven't provided an example. I don't know.
That's literally because
Does somebody want to say something?
I came in here.
Yeah, this is a fantasy situation where he's going to turn out to be right about ether after everyone told him he was wrong. That's what that is. In his own head, that happened loads of times, and now he's
even if it did happen. Yeah, this one. Now this is when Witsit was talking about the ether.
Ether doesn't exist. Sorry.
You're anticipating in the. I see what you're doing. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Look, I'm stepping on his reputation.
Man, I tell you what, he should have never said that. He'll
No, I'm gonna
rue
ramp
today.
that up.
He'll rue today.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Let me ask you, how do you explain
Witsit
gravity?
yesterday told Brian.
Who are you
And
asking?
here we go.
Gravity.
Yeah, Witsit yesterday
you
told
asking?
Brian he's stepping on his reputation.
Okay, if you're asking Robert Sungenis, now that's a legitimate question to Sungenis.
That is hilarious.
How do you explain? Is everybody? Let me go back.
I
Shout out
talk
to
to
Jado.
these dudes every
Let's go
day,
back.
man.
The evidence doesn't match it. Until that happens, everyone switches overnight, right?
Let me ask you, how do you explain gravity?
See, what is gravity and how do you explain gravity are two different questions.
It's just such a subject swap over.
It is that you got to be ready. You have to get the Adderall out, right, with these clowns. But we can do it.
How do you explain something that has never been shown to exist? I don't know.
But you missed. Yeah, I hate to say. But he asked. Now his final question is kind of non sequitur. But did you guys realize the two different questions that came out of his blowhole? Right?
Yeah.
What is gravity and how do you explain gravity? Those are two different things, correct? You got that?
Correct.
So let's see which one Bob answers.
Before you do, I must point out that it's 50-something minutes into this.
Bob there?
And only one tiny bit of flat Earth was brought up. And that was the Knickerbocker. And that was it. Where was all the flat Earth stuff that I thought was supposed to be happening from 42 minutes on?
But I don't know if anyone said it was happening from 42 minutes on. They said it was happening. You can't make a judgment, Brian. We haven't been over here.
This is one of these you take some off later things.
That was just the first argument that was presented to support.
Hold on. AI, go ahead.
That was just the first argument that was presented to support the proposition the Earth is flat. And it was, I think it was stated to be a proof, but the way it could possibly be structured is it can't be a proof.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. All right. But we haven't watched the rest of it. But now, don't lose focus now. He's asked Robert, what is gravity
check this
and
out.
how do you explain gravity?
Brian's is still
That's
trying
a legitimate
to get
question to a
he's still
balltard.
trying to get a win
Even
on
though
AI.
he's a geocentrist, guess what?
Me and
he's
AI
a balltard. They
have
believe
already
in gravity.
watched this.
So that's legitimate.
Everybody know.
Now, if he would ask that question,
everybody know I already watched this. Me and Flat Zoe, we already reviewed this whole thing. So, and I doubt Kiwi is going to get to the end of this unless he's about to pull like a 4 or 5 hour or something like that. I doubt Kiwi is going to get to the end when they was talking about ready to flatter. Right now they into the ether thing. So, it's really, I don't know how. I guess it's Rob's turn to talk again. So, yeah, Witsit is barely going to talk in this thing. So, that's the point.
that's what Witsit's response should be. But he didn't ask Witsit. He asked Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
So Bob has to answer this shit. Let's see what he says.
Bob.
Gravity goes right back to the Planck particle.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Citation, please. It goes back to
citation. I got a citation for you.
Do you?
Yep, as the citation police, I've been curating this citation. Here it is. Okay. Ether is Planck particles, therefore gravity is ether. There you go. There's the citation.
That's non sequitur, dude.
No, it isn't. He said earlier ether was Planck particles. Did he not?
Yes.
Yep. So then the question, if he answers what is gravity, how do you explain gravity, and he says Planck particles, what are we talking about? Ether, I imagine.
So ether is gravity. That makes sense in his own paradigm, but it's incoherent because he's begging the question because he just conjured that.
Yeah. You made that up.
So that's fallacious. He's a moron. So I need a citation for that, Babylon Bob.
I think.
We don't care what you think. We already know that you're daft ass cracker, right? We need to know. We need demonstration. First, citation, then the demonstration. Simple.
Yep.
Without it, you got nothing.
It's just a just so story.
There's a lot of theories out there about gravity.
No, there isn't a lot of theories. There is not one single scientific theory about gravity. Not one. So you're either a dumbass or you're a liar.
He's both.
I'm leaning more towards the former.
But if this book is 99% Planck particle and
My goodness, dude.
Holy crap. So let's follow the logic, follow the bouncing logic. So what's that book made of?
Ether.
There you go.
What's my pizza?
What's your ether?
Ether sure tastes good today.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this wait a minute, guys. Is this going to solve whether ether on ether tastes delicious? By that I mean pineapple on pizza.
Good. Oh my god.
But they're really running with this. Flats, you better stop them because it's just going to get continuous.
Oh, I got more and more.
Go.
You could go all day.
Yeah, I've got another thought in my head that's completely off subject.
We want to hear it, Flatsy.
Okay, well, Robert he looks like he should sound like Neil telling us how he feels heartbroken that he had to kill his nephew.
That Flatsy, that's a bit twisted. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like a mobster. Because they will like gaslight. I feel so terrible that I'm so heartbroken that I had to kill my nephew.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, first of all, which Neil are you talking about? Constantino is. So, are you saying that Neil and Robertson Jennings look alike?
No, I said that Robert looks like he should have Neil's accent. And telling us like a mobster, because I think that Neil sounds like he might be in the mob.
So he should be saying, it's the freaking ether. This kind of stuff.
Is you on the ether?
You can't be attacking him for past affiliations. That ain't right.
Somebody asked him.
I'm sober.
Somebody asked her if she was on the ether. Yes, she is. Because
that was Reg.
I wasn't. I wasn't ready for that, Flatsy. You need to be institutionalized.
Okay.
Not Booger. You.
Booger needs me.
Oh boy, we're off the reservation now, Bob. This is pretty.
I did not help.
No, you did not help. I was sorry that I asked. Here we go.
Whatever paper's made of.
Whatever paper's made of. Wood. Pulp. So those are Planck particles. You're an idiot, Bob.
You just mean
pulp.
ether.
You could say ether. I mean,
you could say ether. So you're right. Hey, what's it? That book's ether.
I have so many names.
Yeah, I have so many.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
We was joking, but he's just as dumb as what we was explaining.
He's a dumbass cracker boy. Go ahead. Give me I can take a break a minute. I'll be right back.
There's
Maybe next time.
Actually, a possibility it could get dumber.
Sorry, go ahead, Aya.
Just saying, it could get dumber.
Oh, it most certainly will.
I want to know how. Would you elaborate?
No, you gotta wait till we press play.
Maybe QE will think twice next time he needs me.
Or you could, or you could sneak a little side cookie. Yeah, you could sneak a little side cookie, get on YouTube and watch ahead a little bit, and then come back.
No, it's supposed to be a reaction.
Serious latency issues today.
Reg, you know your name, RegJoe. Is the purpose of that regular Joe?
Yep.
Is that was? I thought
And you guys call him Reg.
Yeah,
He's supposed to be Reg.
They named me Reg Joe.
Reginald Joseph.
They named me
I
Reg
thought your name
Joe.
was Reginald Joseph.
Yeah, everybody just say Reg, so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna take out the regular. FED gave me my name, y'all. They
call them
literally
Regs.
Yeah.
What up, Regs?
What up, Reg?
I honestly enjoy hearing you, Reg Joe. When you say things, it's very poignant and right on point. It's good.
Just be careful if you get a crap mic. You might sound like either me or Eli, or somebody might confuse you.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
You on the phone though, ain't you?
That's racist, sir.
Yep. Yep.
Did you, Chocolate? Did you hear that Eli confused you for him one day when he was listening into the show in the background?
Racism.
Yeah.
What is this, Inception?
He was listening to you say something and he thought it was him saying it. He was like, "Oh, I said something good there." Then he realized, "Hang on, that's Chocolate." Ask him, yeah.
Yo, that's classic right there, baby.
That's weed.
You said that's weed.
That's the Regs right there.
Yeah, that Reggie. That's a good name.
You know what I mean?
Are you from the Atlanta area?
I ain't had none of that in a minute.
Can we take a break or a weed
Yeah, so I
break
was
or
telling
something?
earlier. Yeah, no, Quantum's on break, so we got to fill the air with relevant content. Not keep in mind we're still live.
Yeah, we
Wait, are we
still
live?
Yep.
Are we
Oh shit,
live?
we're live. Oh my
Oh,
god.
We
are we
live.
live?
Oh no.
Yeah, that's TV.
All the secrets came out.
Did you hear me say, Reg?
I was telling
Okay, where are we at?
They were discussing
We're in
where
the
my name came
weeds.
from.
Oh, that's deep. Where your name came? Can we move on? This is going to be really stupid.
Where is Adam Meakin?
Oh, I don't. He better be dead.
he's convalescing.
He's convalescing from last night. Yeah, he did stay up last night. He better be dead because there's no excuse. That's all I'm saying. Here we go.
Do you think it is Planck particle?
I think, yeah, it has to be the smallest possible material substance.
Yeah, it sounds like a personal problem, Bob. If you know what I mean.
That was good.
I have no clue what you mean.
That was good.
I feel bad for Tim again. Because all he asked the guy was he asked before what's ether. He got 17 things. Now he's asking the guy what's gravity, and he's getting another 15 things. Like, what the hell, man?
You didn't catch what I was laying down there, Chocolate?
I did.
Maybe
Yeah, we got it.
Pause.
Yeah, we got it. It was a man thing.
I wouldn't know of such things.
You mean what?
Shh.
Because if it's not the smallest, then you're going to have something there between the particles.
Oh my. Oh my.
He just keep going.
And that's something there because if it's not the smallest, you got to have something between the particles. And you can't have nothing. Right?
You guys right? He shot himself in the foot with that claim, dude.
Yeah.
He shot himself somewhere.
And it's not in the smallest part.
Yep.
Oh boy.
He basically set up an infinite regression. He set up an infinite regression.
With?
Right? Okay, you have particles. And just for sake of argument, let's just describe them as a circle because that's easy. Put them on your paper. Try to get them all to touch each other in all places. You can't. There's always going to be a gap where they don't touch. So now I can fit something in that gap. Well, if I use another circle in that gap that's smaller, I end up with more gaps, and I just end up with gaps ad infinitum.
Yes. Correct. Okay, fair enough. You know what he's going to say next. Let's roll it back so we get the complete thought.
Because if it's not the smallest, then you're going to have something there between the particles that can't be nothing, has to be something. So
there you go. He didn't disappoint.
God.
That's a false claim.
Yep.
So bad.
So is that place between the particles, is that gravity? You lost the plot, you dumbass cracker. My God.
Yeah, don't ask him anything. That should be Tim Pool's future, notes to himself. Don't ask Robert Sungenis anything. Jeez.
Serious.
Yeah, he should have just been like, when he asked him what was gravity and can he explain it, he should have said, I believe it's ether, and you got my explanation for ether. It's the same thing.
Yep. It's really stupid. You're really a dumbass cracker, Bob. I mean, really, you're one of the dumbest people I've ever run into. You're like a skosh right above T-jump. Just the skosh.
This part of this broadcast hurt me personally because I actually had something in the hopper for these dumbasses, which was a super chats, because I was expecting this to be like a routine where they have the super chats at the end or during, and then they answer them in a Q&A.
Yes.
And I was going to put forth to them the logical problems of this something from nothing claim and make them answer it live like a bunch of retards.
Yep, that's too bad.
Sadly, I missed that chance.
Dang, I wish that would have happened. That would be priceless.
Well, write that up. Send that to me. Write it up and send it to me.
I got it clipped, so I'll transcript it maybe. Or
Yeah.
I'll write it better. I'll try to make it even better and more concise.
Okay. All right. Yeah, do that. I'll remind you. Yeah, I want it. I'm going to take a look at it.
So now you're going to have to go back to the smallest possible particle.
Well, we all know what that is, don't we, Bob?
Oh my.
This is a family show.
You keep doing it. Bob is doing it. It's not us.
Flatsy's all over it. She caught it immediately too, but she didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, we gotta stop now.
Girl.
Flatsy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Flatsy caught on. We gotta stop.
Pardon me.
No refracted.
These guys worship Tesla, right?
Who?
Thank you.
Babylon. No, I don't know about Babylon Bob.
Okay, but the idea that the electron and Tesla's claim of discovering the smallest amount of matter, non-decomposable matter, is that what he's trying to do? Is steal the valor of the electron?
No, he's not. He's not a Tesla guy. No, he's just making this shit up.
He's supposed to be describing gravity right now.
Man, it's a Planck, dude.
Oh yeah.
The second history twisted though. Planck was a dude, right? Am I not mistaken? He was a guy. That's why stuff's named after him.
Yeah, Chocolate. Thanks for that instant of levity. Yes, Chocolate, you're correct.
Anytime, brother.
Yeah. Ask him what Kool-Aid is. Ask him what Kool-Aid is next. Shut up. Ask him what Kool-Aid is next, Tim. He's going to give the same response.
Well, if we go back to Planck and the Planck orbitals and blah blah blah.
I like. You know what? I've always hated blah blah blahs, but that series was really cool. Can you do that again?
Yep.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's it. Very well done.
It's like he's singing it.
Yeah, that was because I can't stand that when people do that. It drives me absolutely crazy.
And the smallest possible distance.
Well, somebody already took yada yada yada, so I can't do that.
Yeah, what did they yada yada yada?
Yada yada yada. The end.
A-
Remember
AI
AI?
just said that a little while ago.
Too funny.
Already known in quantum
Discovering
mechanics.
discovering
What?
zero.
The yada 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 zero.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Can't be nothing, has to be something. So now you're going to have to go back to the smallest
this is getting
possible
ridiculous.
particle and the smallest possible distance. This is all already
Everybody
known in
that
quantum mechanics.
sent me
What?
yesterday. Everybody that sent me
How
yesterday,
so?
they know what's going on. But
Now he's
we
gonna
about to just
build
hang
a
out with
quan-
QE today,
You
I
wouldn't
guess.
know what
Let's
quantum
go.
mechanics was if it climbed up your arse and started kicking footballs wrapped in Carolina Reaper lace concertina wire. You're
Sorry.
a clown.
Sorry,
What?
back to business. At this point now, Whitsett should be chiming in. Because didn't he say quantum mechanics was beyond retarded?
Yeah, he did. Train wrecking himself forever.
And
If he would have,
debunking the photoelectric effect.
yeah. If he would have said, I debunked fire," it would have been more coherent.
I'm about to go on. I'm hanging out with
You're
He wouldn't
That's
say
the way
that
you get.
as he has a reputation to uphold.
Yes, he does. Way to go, Brian. You're
Same
never gonna
time,
let
y'all.
that go. Here we go. It's all
Yeah,
Bob.
let's do this.
Okay. So if everything is filled with Planck particles,
If everything is,
Look at that face.
yeah, he's a glue sniffer. If everything is filled with,
So we're gonna hang out with let me see something. Let's see what Flats and I'm doing. I already did this. That's why I'm not really too into it like that. But these my guys, so these my guys. But then PJ and them my guys too. So it's like.
that's the
Define a
non
vacuum.
sequitur. That is
Defi-
so non sequitur. We're gonna play that again. What the hell did you just say?
I don't know what these guys talking about.
Sorry, Flatsy, go ahead.
Like, these people need to define a vacuum. I think that they forget what a vacuum is.
That was one of the stupidest things I think I ever heard. I mean, this, Brian, you got to admit, this is T-jump material.
Yes, this. That was one of the stupidest things I ever heard from someone who's claimed to be educated. Remember, if it was from the guy on the corner, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. He just doesn't know any different. But a guy who claims to be educated and has the title doctor before his name, that's bad.
We're gonna hear it again. Ready? Here we go.
protons, neutrons, electrons, and that can exist in a Planck particle medium, then it's going to create a vacuum.
That's really stupid. It's beyond stupid. That it's so non sequitur. It's as non sequitur as non sequitur can get.
Yeah, it is.
And
Whitson should be disagreeing with
Reg.
all of this. I said Whitson should be disagreeing with all of this, though.
Yeah, but
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, but he should be disagreeing. However, not now, because it's not his turn to talk.
Yeah,
So you
fair
can't
point.
indict him right now.
There's an
Okay.
ancillary point to this, which is important and relevant to the community at large. So the accusation of the Ethereans against non-Ethereans or people who believe in particles, etc., is not simply that we're disagreeing about how the world works. The accusation is that we are atomists. And the connotation of atomist is not that we believe in atoms or particles. The connotation is that we believe that the supernatural doesn't exist. That's the claim of the atomist.
Yeah, but
Wait,
that's not
isn't
us.
that why he called us materialists?
Correct.
Yeah, but then he went back on that when he talked to Brian
Fair point.
7 days later.
That is a fair point. Maybe he did, but that doesn't mean they all have. A lot of them hold that connotation against us when they're saying we believe in this stuff. Let me tell you why. It's because the original atomists did believe that. They believed that the space between particles was void of everything, void of matter, and void of anything supernatural like entities that may include a god or any type of supernatural being. So it was a direct attack against saying if empty space exists, God can't exist. And that is the connotation that many Ethereans make against us and hold us in contempt.
They need to be institutionalized. Is the problem.
Well,
so they'll be right there. They're going to be right there with Flatsy.
If you just allow me a minute, two things to say. Number one, based off what was just said there. Well, Sungenesis is employing a medium of tiny particles. So that would be atomistic, right? Based off of that standard, number one. Number two, what Witz has said is that, and people have said it, I interrupt, right? And I do have a tendency now and again to interrupt. When I feel like it's necessary, I will interrupt, right? That's a tactic I do use. But during this whole hour or so that's happened here, do you not agree that there was a million times for interruption where someone needs to be told, you don't know what you're talking about, you have that wrong, no, that's not the way that works? I mean, someone needs to be in there telling them that. But instead, we should have good manners and sit there and go, oh yeah, and just go along to get along. For what?
Yeah,
Please,
I agree up to a point, Brian, but this, I'm getting a feeling from this, the way this is set up, that it's not appropriate. However, it's not appropriate to interrupt, and I can understand that. However, I would have a pen over where I'm at and a little sheet of paper, and I'd be writing them down. And when it was my turn to speak, that's when I would hit them. Follow?
Yeah, that's professional.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's not what I would do. I would just straight out interrupt.
Yeah, but you're a friggin' barbarian.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. You're talking rubbish.
I know. That's why I ain't gonna ruin my reputation by telling people about you.
And there was a little logistical. Let me say this, because there's a logistical note about this episode, is that supposedly it was supposed to be 2-on-2.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the way this is structured, Witsit didn't really know Sungenesis was going to show up, and the people involved had to actually go get their partners themselves. And so it's like Witsit really should have a partner here that's actually on Flat Earth's side, where none of those other guys are. Right. I mean, Alex Stein, is basically not even there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, he's not there.
But Brian, you make a good point. That's your personality. It would ruin my reputation. But like I said,
but Brian's point will
ruin
hold
your reputation, dude.
But Brian's point will hold at the end of this, because we're going to see Rob doing just that to Witsit. When he bring his flat earth argument.
No, we haven't watched it.
Yeah, party foul.
Brian's point
He
goes.
dies at the end of the movie.
Hey, I'll have you know, Reg also talks through super chats.
Does he? Okay.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah. Go, Chocolate, you wanted to add something? I heard you.
I was gonna say, with Brian, I understand your point, Brian, and because right now, this Tim has asked, what's his name, Rob, to describe gravity. Right now, a normal flat earther who knows that there's no such thing as gravity would have nothing to say at this point, because you're listening to a supposed geocentrist describe what gravity is. Right. The problem is that we know Whitson has a different definition of what gravity is. He's going to go into something else and describe gravity in a different way, as opposed to saying that it doesn't exist. And that's the problem.
Have you watched this?
And you don't have to watch this to know that.
Let me ask you a question. Right now, I'm not a
Yeah,
Christian.
AI is right. We know that about Whitsitt, right? Like he's not gonna say gravity just doesn't exist. He's gonna say it's something else, a pressure radiation or some crap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, absolutely, that'll happen. I have no doubt about it. But
All right.
let me ask you a question, right? Now, I'm not a Christian, but from the little
We
bit
know.
that I was taught about, right? Oh, you're fully aware, right? From the bit I was taught about Christianity and the stories about Jesus, did Jesus go into the temple and put some safety tape around him very gradually and safely push over the tables and make sure that didn't land on anyone's toes or any of that? Or did he go in and he boot those things over and scream at people? Because that's what you have to do. You can't go in there nice. Nice guys finish last.
That's a poor analogy, dude. Number
Nah,
one,
it's not. It's not a poor analogy.
number
You
one,
have to
you're
do
not.
it.
Number one, you're not Jesus. Okay.
That doesn't mean I can't. I can't display Christ-like behavior.
He could be Jesus.
Yeah, he could be.
And how do you know I'm not Jesus?
How
Maybe
do
he's
I know you?
exemplifying. Maybe he's exemplifying Paul-like behaviors. There you go.
Yeah, I just we get the feeling that this is more upscale, even though they're dumb as friggin'
I've
bag of
triggered
hammers.
someone there. Don't worry about it. We'll move on.
Yeah, we know they're dumber than a bag of hammers. However, in this how would I want to say, it's not a debate. With the way this is structured, that like I said, there wouldn't be a problem with you sitting over there waiting your turn, but writing these things down. That's in this realm. That's what I would do.
Yep.
Well, I expect it to be invited back a second time because I don't care about the second time. I just want to get on there the first time. I'm going to leave enough noise there the first time that I won't be forgotten.
Yeah, and you won't be on the second one, that's for sure.
Okay. You need me to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Oh, please, God, no.
Yeah, we'll explain. Are you saying we're being pulled down by vacuum forces, or?
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah, we're being pulled down to earth by vacuum forces. What?
That's what I thought I heard, and I thought I heard wrong.
Now check this out,
Wow.
fellas. According to what our friend Chocolate just said, and what we know, we're gonna have to give credit where credit is due. That this guy version of gravity sounds stupider than other versions we've heard.
That's true. It is much dumber than your average skank and file baltard. Yes, it's not even the same. This is like I already told you what vicinity this is in. This is T jump. Are you aware of T jump? AI.
The bubbles.
Of course I am. I was the one who taught you who Sonny is.
Oh my God, that's where this is at. This is extremely painful. I sure hope they get off of Bob here quick.
much what it is. It's a vacuum force because you have matter impeding on the Planck particle, and now the Planck particle isn't at its optimal density.
That's the dumbest thing. That is it. The dumbest thing I ever heard. It outdoes the dumbest thing I ever heard. Each time you speak, it's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I mean, there's no hope for you. You're finished.
If it's not at an optimal density, it's going, and nature abhors a vacuum.
What does that have to do with anything? If nature abhors a vacuum,
Nature.
Yeah, you got it. Go ahead, Chocolate. I was
Sorry.
on it. No, go ahead. I was on it.
Nature abhors a vacuum, but he just described how we're being held down by vacuum forces. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you know. Yeah. Sometimes it's scary that Chocolate and I think so much alike. Sometimes. Yeah.
That's hilarious because Nathan says the same shit.
Then it's going to try to compensate for that lack of optimal density and start pulling. Whatever's out there, it's going to start pulling.
So whatever's out there, it's going to pull it. That is the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Do you think that there is a firmament and there's no space then?
Now we're off on another topic. Do you think?
did he attack the first topic? Where I'm good. I can't.
He's going to ask him another question now. Now, remember, he's a spinning Baltard geocentrist and a Catholic. PhD in Catholicism, by the way. Maybe not Catholicism, but religious studies from Tuco Community College in Tobago, mail order degree section. So you know that he can't, there can't be no container. There can't be no firmament, right? You know that. So this is going to be, I'm going to forecast, I'm going to predict that this is going to be just as painful.
One small correction. He's a
What's that?
spinning universe stationary globe geocentrist.
Yes. Oh, did I say spinning Baltard?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Yep. Thanks for the correction. Yes, correct.
See, now this is another issue about the firmament that we need to know, which is
Yeah, we do. So, which is what?
Is a lot of the theories are based on
No, there are no theories on the meaning of a word. Firmament is well established. So your theories of a word is stupid. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. See what's happening? After everything he says, the next thing that comes out of his mouth is going to be the dumbest thing you ever heard.
the fact that the firmament is a solid thing.
Yeah, it's a solid. Yep, rakia, stereoma. Yep.
That's why you have the picture of the dome.
No, we don't got a picture. We have a word. There is no picture of a dome anywhere. Well, maybe in some early, the Incas and all those guys. Maybe that. Is that what you're talking about? We're talking about the meaning of a word.
That's what you get in Genesis chapter 1, verses 6 to 9.
Verses 6 to 9. Okay. Yeah. That's what it says. Yep.
That it's a solid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a glass barrier, right?
Yeah.
No one ever said it looks like a glass barrier. Not in scripture, it doesn't. It
Remember that dumbest thing?
No, go ahead.
Remember that dumbest thing you ever heard?
Yeah, y'all get the gist of it. I'll probably be back a little bit later on, play the game a little bit.
Is that his name? Tim. I had my cousins were. Listen, I got an excuse. My cousins that lived real close to me, they were Tim, Tom, and Tina. They had the T's going. So Tim and Tom, I used to hang out with those guys all the time. So please forgive me.
No, because that's what the Hebrew word means.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what the Hebrew word that he's got he's got that right. What is he gonna do now? Let's see.
You know what they say about a broken clock?
Yes, I do. Not a military clock, though.
Touche.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's why you get that's why you get the word firmament. It's firm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
In Greek, it's stereoma, which means solid.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Is
But
an idiot.
But he's about to screw the pooch. What the hell is going to come out of this idiot's mouth next?
Where is a butt?
I don't think
Where's
I'm
the
prepared.
butt out of a?
Let's try it.
This is stupid.
Get ready. Have your therapist on speed dial.
There's another facet to this Hebrew word, rock.
Oh, really? There's another facet to the word. Okay.
And you get that in the second part of Genesis 1.
Oh, you do? Where?
Oh, it's another meaning.
When
Okay.
it starts talking about the celestial bodies.
Well, that's not celestial bodies. That's stupid. That rakia is not celestial bodies, Bob. Huh?
It says God made the sun, the moon, and the stars and put them in the firmament.
Yeah. What's the problem?
Okay. Well, how can that be if it's solid?
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember this.
So, Bob, when I put shoes in a shoebox, are the shoes part of the box? Bob?
Gosh. I don't want to be mean, but this guy,
I told you.
no, I can't. I don't know how to not be mean when I talk about this guy.
He's a dumbass. You're a dumbass, Bob.
I'm trying to understand why he's so intent on describing a rakia or a firmament or anything when he's supposedly thinks he lives on a ball in space.
Well, I think he's trying to circumvent that, Chocolate. We haven't heard the full story yet.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Imagine if you thought that the firmament could be ether and that celestial bodies move through
Oh,
it.
Lord.
Because I forgot how far into this I listened, because I obviously mentally blocked out of all of
We,
it.
we didn't get there yet. We didn't get there
Yeah,
yet.
but you got to say some really stupid stuff to even talk about what they are, the ether thing. Man, you just got to say some stupid stuff, man.
All right. That was the dumbest thing I ever heard, Bob.
We
Don't
need to play
disappoint.
this because I need to hear where this is going now.
Yeah, we're gonna get. Yeah, I was thinking about stopping, but we got to hear the whole circumvent, right? Because he's going somewhere with this. Let's hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hope he is.
They're wrong.
No, you got two meanings for the firmament.
No, you don't. You only have one meaning for the firmament. You brought in celestial bodies as a train wreck proof that has nothing to do with the meaning of rakia. You're stupid, brother. Look at that shit-eating grin on his face. He thinks he's clever.
You do think
Dunning-Kruger delusional.
He think he's saying something
That's
profound.
the look of it. When you look up Dunning-Kruger, delusional Dunning-Kruger, guess whose picture you're going to see?
You're like, oh, wow, I'm brilliant. Look at me.
Right there.
I'm on tempo.
You got one that's solid, and you got one that's ethereal.
No, there's not. Oh, my God, you're right. There, you don't got one or another, Bob. You got the word rakia. There's not another word, Bob. You glue sniffer.
And
You know when
celestial bodies.
Sorry.
No, that's not celestial bodies, Bob. Rakia is not talking about celestial bodies, Bob.
Can I just say that
you're pulling it. What?
You know when you have a bad experience, and sometimes people have a bad experience and they block out the bad experience and they block it out from their life or certain parts of it. That's what happened to me when I was listening to this.
You blacked out.
Yeah, I blocked out a lot of it. Yeah, a lot of it I don't remember. Now it's like deja vu was happening to me.
All right, let's continue.
Solid, and you got one that's ethereal.
No, you just got one, like I told you. There's no ethereal horseshit in there. There's just rakia. You haven't introduced another word yet that replaces rakia, Bob, you dumbass.
And that's where the celestial bodies can fit in.
Fit in like a shoes inside a shoebox.
And if you follow the meaning of firmament,
Yet, if you follow the meaning of firmament, it continues to mean rakia or stereoma. That's what happens when you follow the meaning of it.
rakia or raka.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah.
Another derivative of it.
Yeah.
Throughout the Old Testament, you see.
Yep, you see solid.
Those two meanings.
So
no, you don't see two meanings for the word, Bob. Citation, please. We want to see this. There's not two meanings for that word. You're a dumbass. You introduce celestial bodies. That's a completely different phrase. You clown. Tim, please don't ask him another thing.
Let me try and get the gravity explanation then. So,
oh, now we're back to gravity.
You see, I told you I felt bad for him. He's just trying to get the poor guy. He's just trying to get an answer, and he's getting all types of bullshit.
Okay, let's try. Hopefully, we'll finish this part up.
So,
well, gravity's fake, and this is how we know because it's all
well, at least somebody interrupted to get away from Bob.
Right.
Thank the Lord.
buoyancy and density. Because this I can prove. Why does a balloon float, Tim? Is that
Archimedes' law of displacement.
Archimedes' law of displacement. That has nothing to do with gravity. Archimedes.
Can we go back to?
I'm sorry. No, we're not going back. Yeah, Archimedes was quite a few years, like 1,000 years before gravity even turned up. That's your problem. Go ahead, Brian.
I think it was 1900 years before.
Was it 19? Was it? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Archimedes. Yeah, it's totally not connected.
Yep.
But I was just wondering if we're going to hear more about Bob's solid medium.
No. Well, no. Thank God Alex interrupted the barrage of questions to Bob. I was getting pretty sick of it. I think everyone else was too.
Yeah,
so,
but even Tim doesn't realize that he kind of just debunked his own own paradigm.
Yes.
Because you're talking about displacement. Well, again, that's something going up when it's not supposed to be.
Yep.
So that's already a problem. Tim, sorry.
And it's also a flat Earth proof reflected. I don't know where he went, but he was going to jump in here. If it displaced up, you can't have up on a globe tard. But there's many layers to this.
Which was discovered long before gravity, right?
Yeah, at least +1. He jumped in there at the right spot. You have to give him that, right? Good. Yep. Correct.
I mean,
oh yeah.
But we put the little G in.
Oh yeah. Then why'd you bring it up? Tim, he's a fool.
There now. So because gravity comes from gravitas, which means heavy. So it just means that objects are heavy. They have a.
You're going to get into an entomological fallacy here. They're talking about gravity. What is the meaning of gravity in quote? And I don't want to do the meat hooks, but we'll do them in honor of you. The meat hooks, natural science, right? We're not into the meaning of the word gravity. What is gravity? Okay, you're on shaky ground here.
A weight. As to what causes objects to have weight, that's
your question to yourself.
the real question, right?
So
right? No, really? Did he agree? Did you Jedi mind trick him into thinking that? Let me go back. He might have said yes.
He already answered it. Weight is just the downward vector of buoyancy. That's it. It couldn't be more obvious.
Let's see if Tim agreed.
As to what causes objects to have weight, that's the real question, right?
So right. So
right. So he said right. So
yeah, but when I said weight is just the downward vector of buoyancy, that's just the name we gave to the downward vector of buoyancy. He didn't say it, but he referenced buoyancy. Someone there referenced buoyancy. It's like, yeah, it's just buoyancy. That's all it is. You know, you go down in one medium and up in the other. There is no weight. Weight doesn't technically exist outside of the reference of that downward vector in air.
Yeah, well, wait, that was, yeah, I could get deep into that. I'm not going to. I'm going to, no, it's getting too late.
The issue then would be, I'm trying to understand, and maybe I'm getting it wrong. The Earth is massive, and with
the Earth is massive. How massive? And what's mass?
With Planck particles occupying.
No, God.
He's just been robotized.
Here we go again.
He's been robotized.
He's been robotized. It's not robotized, it's bobotized.
Oh, bobotized.
Bob, did you say bobatized or bobatas?
Bobatized.
99% of space, there is a massive vacuum that is the Earth pulling.
There's a massive vacuum. The Earth's a massive vacuum. Bobatas friggin' Jedi mind tricked him into we're off in Never Land, ladies and gentlemen.
I
Do we
can't
want to
even.
say again?
No. I said, I can't even. And I know you were about to ask, do we want to continue? And I said, no.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It's almost we've been going for 4 hours. I've had enough of this. All right, so
Oh, it's getting long in the plank.
yeah, it's getting long in the plank time. Let me
Pulling everything. I'm trying to
let me
understand.
go back.
And maybe
Let me go back a little bit here, and I'll timestamp this. I'll timestamp it right here and save this for our next iteration. So
yeah.
Oh, wrong page.
This is silly.
Let me get over here.
Yeah.
I gotta do this.
I was
Man. I
supposed to
got too
been
much
gone,
going
right?
on, so I have to save this. They're cute.
Yeah, I was supposed to have been gone. But yeah, I just hanging out with QE and them for a second. QE have a live show that comes on every Tuesday. Tuesday and Saturday, he usually does his treatments, or he usually have a good show going on. I like QE when he does his treatments. You know, it's really good when QE does the treatments by himself. Like QE would have really been done with that if he was doing it by himself. But it's good when he have the Discord interact with him and everything. You learn a lot. I learned a lot from QE. I learned most of my stuff I know about Flat Earth comes from QE, honestly. But yeah. Yep, so I'm about to get up out of here. Probably check me out. I'm about to play a little play the game, little Skyrim here and there, whatever. I got a different game for y'all I'm gonna play. It's brand new. But I usually don't leave out this early, but since my other stream actually crashed, I might come back a little bit later and discuss something else, but I might save it for tomorrow. But this is just my comeback stream. I'm usually here every Thursday around 8 p.m. If I'm not pretty much featured somewhere else, I'm probably going to change that 8 p.m. though. I'm probably going to change it to coming on a little bit earlier. I'm thinking about coming on in the afternoon, maybe. I'm thinking about doing it in the afternoon, probably like around maybe like 5. So I got to think of what is a good prime time for me to basically do my cast. But if you don't catch me live, you can always catch the premiere. If you do catch it, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to make this channel as cool as possible. And again, I apologize for the official comeback stream that came on. I appreciate everybody that stopped by, Flat Zoe, PJ, and the rest of everybody that did come by. Thanks for supporting my channel, everybody that do support me, and I would definitely do the same as well for you guys. So I appreciate everybody, and I'm out. Peace.
Grandmaster Levi.
Oh my.
Don't hesitate. Kill.
Ghost Shadow.
Fade into the darkness. Death by 1,000 cuts. It is